Yo, yo.
Yo, our guest walked away.
Yo!
Oh, my bad. My bad, we on?
Yo, we lost in hip hop right
Welcome to
now.
Lost in Hip Hop, man.
Yo, what's your name, sir? What's your name, sir?
DJ Mickey Knox. We got my man.
DJ Concept.
And yeah,
We got a packed house
You
tonight.
want to use those?
Let's see. Let's check it
Yeah,
out.
packed house.
Check it out.
Packed house
check it
tonight
out,
for
check
sure,
it out.
100%.
Yo, take that down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
There we go.
just so
All
we
right,
know what's
cool.
going on there.
That's good.
Let me get my live.
Yo, so what we need to say first is we got a super special
guest.
super producer.
Super producer, super dot
Rapper.
connector.
Yeah, like
Retired rapper.
Retired, super retired.
Super
rapper.
retired
make sure you
rapper.
talk into the mic.
Talk into
Super
that mic.
duper retired rapper. I'm gonna put my
Yeah,
phone
do it.
right there.
You got
on
it.
Oh,
yours.
perfect.
All right, we got Matt Fingaz in the spot.
Hey.
What's up, fellas? Hey.
If I had the air one,
I
I'd
have
hit it.
sound effects.
I do have it
Shit is
actually.
this?
Do ya? Come
Yeah,
on.
but I'm not gonna do
What
it.
is this?
What, you do have it with the horn?
I got some on here. I got it.
Come on, bro. You're holding out on me.
Yo, for those who don't know, Matt Fingaz is a staple in hip hop since the 90s. Me and DJ Concept as vinyl collectors from the 90s.
Oh yeah,
Big fan of your work.
Thanks.
crazy. So many joints.
Right, you started a label called Guess Wild, which is
Yeah.
one of the most important New York City independent hip hop labels ever.
Indeed.
Thanks.
You know, you put on a lot of people, Easy LP.
Oh man, the list is long.
The list is long. Some of those
High
first
Tech.
high tech, yeah. You know, some of those first beats
Most
we've heard
Def.
from them.
Pre-raucous.
Pre-raucous.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we let Matt give them?
Hey,
the
yo, what up?
Why don't we?
Hey, yo.
Why don't we let him give him the cliff notes?
Yeah, word.
Like give him some of the achievements where you started, things like that.
Well, I started out as a college DJ, right? And
What college?
Pace University in Ithaca College. So I was at first Ithaca, then Pace. And I just love vinyl. So I was like, well, where could I get free vinyl? And it was like, go to college radio.
Right.
Then,
That's a fact.
I said, what up, Ayatollah? Then I said, okay, I need more vinyl. So I called the numbers on the circles of the record.
Yup.
Right?
Yup.
And Blunt Recordings at the time only had Mike Geronimo, like Shit's Real.
Right.
Right? And then I hit up Relativity, and they had Fat Joe and Beat Nuts and Bone and all that. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was at Blunt.
Right.
Tuesday, Thursdays, I was at Relativity. And I had no aspirations of being in the music business, like none. Like
You just
zero.
wanted vinyl.
I just wanted vinyl. Right? So what happened was, I'll tell you a funny story. So anyway, in 96, 2 years of interning, right? The mailroom hated me. Like, because I didn't know how to tape up packages properly, right? So I was like wrapping them like Christmas gifts. And they said to me, Matt, yeah, the mailroom hates you. And we no longer could use your services if you're not in the mailroom. And I was like, bro, I interned. I said, matter of fact, I pay to work here. Right? He said, I'm sorry, my guy Chappie, right? He says, I didn't say all that. I said, trust me,
I'm
bro.
actually losing money.
I was there, okay? I know. And that's how I met Flush, and that's how I met the Beat Miners and Buck Wild and all those people, and how I met Domingo and all these guys, Fat Joe and these guys was at Relativity. So I said to myself, do I go and be an economics major at school, or do I go and jump in and do this full time? And I had money saved up as like a kid. And I was like, Ma, can I get my money? You know? Because it was supposed to be for some savings. Right? She says, I'm gonna give it to you, but if you lose it all or spend it all, it's done. You're not getting another dollar out of it. And I had a bunk bed. I started my record label from a bunk bed.
Right.
Okay? And I went, and my friend Brandon Himmel had this group called the Derelicts out in Japan. And I went to his house, and he had boxes and boxes, and he had a check. And I said, bro, what's that check? He said, yeah, I've been selling records in Japan. I'm like, you got $1,000? You're rich, right? Rich bitch. Yo, back when you were a teenager, $1,000 was like, wow.
And I mean, back in our day, you know what I'm saying, there's even more money.
Yeah, oh my God. So I said, well, how do you can I get that connect, right? Let me get the plug. And I said, okay, cool. So I hit up Buck Wild. I hit up Domingo and said, yo, I need beats, right?
Right.
So I said, I don't want to put out records that sound like Joe Schmo or whatever. I said, Keith Murray, OC, these people are on the radio. I want my shit coming in right after that.
Right.
Like, so Stretch Armstrong's blending it, my shit is still dope.
Right.
You know? And that's kind of where it started and how it kind of branched off into overseas. And like what AL was talking about with, you know, Tommy T and these people.
Yeah.
They would
Tommy
hit me.
T, wow.
Shout out Tommy T out in Oslo, Norway. And they would hit me up from Japan and Germany and England and these places. And they would say, hey, Matt, can you do what you do for yourself for us? For a German rapper, for a Japanese rapper, for a Norwegian singer or whatever. And that, I was so excited because we're doing music from the bunk bed. So I'm like, wow, we get to do this overseas. And it wasn't even about the money. It was just an opportunity to go work with people in all sorts of the world.
And being involved in those circles.
It was insane. And you know what's crazy?
As a kid, yeah.
Yeah, for
sure. People kind of was like, nah, I ain't fucking with that, you know, whatever. And I said, nah, I'll do it. And I did a lot of it for free at first. And eventually they would call me and go, Matt, we have a festival for like 100,000 people. Would you and El the Sensei and Mike Zoot like to come out here and do the thing? And I was like, Mike Zoot and El the Sensei typically would never do a venue beyond like that.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? So for them to be able to do that for 100,000 people and then 1 million people on television, it's like such a blessing because you never know when it'll happen again, you know?
Sure.
Right. All right. So now you got the label started. Now you're moving, you know, you're selling.
Yeah.
You know, at what point because at some point you decide Guess Wild is done.
I know the day it was done.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I know the day.
And then where did you go from there? What part of the industry did you decide? What made you want to stop putting out records and start focusing on like more managerial stuff?
I know the day that happened. So basically, when I first started putting out records in '96, it was only 6 records.
Right.
So it was only 6 of us, like True Criminal,
Yep.
Yep.
FT Street Smarts and Ox Skills and all that. Shout out to Skill.
Skills.
And you got DJ Spinner had his own label, but very few people were doing it. So around 2001, it was oversaturated. Yeah. Everybody had records on the shelf. It was like, but the kid still only had $20 in his pocket to go buy a record. So now he's just choosing from more records.
Yes.
Right? So I'm having to pay as much for the production, but I'm selling less. Right? So, and then that wasn't the tipping point though. It was, and shout out to, I love Joe at Fat Beats, and I won't mention the name of the other people that were up there that had the conversation with me. And a shout out to Eclipse, that's my guy.
Yeah,
but there was somebody else, and he basically tried to start A&Ring my shit. Like, oh, you need like Ed O.G. and Pete Rock. And I was like, bro, I'm the reason that you even get features on these records. Like, the whole point of being independent is to do whatever you want to do. If I'm gonna go ahead and compromise what I'm doing, I might as well go to Loud or Tommy Boy. Right. So what ended up happening was I did a record where Little Fame did the beat and OC rapped on it. And he said, well, that's not exactly Annie Up. And I was like, first off, Annie Up was done by DR Period.
Right.
Second, how many Annie Ups are there in the world?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
what
bro,
kind of comment is that?
I said, matter of fact, you go up to Little Fame in the club and Billy Dan's and go ask them to do something for you and see how well that goes.
Right.
And offer them whatever you're gonna offer them.
Ugh.
So I wasn't like, it wasn't an ego thing. It was literally like, damn, you're just taking the joy out of this shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna move into production management. Right? So that's when I linked up with Stat Quo. I was still coordinating. That's what was kind of like saving the day, was me just, instead of Talib Kweli and these other people, now it became, can you get us Exhibit? Can you get us Busta Rhymes? Can you get us those type of guys? So my coordination fee was enough to like take care of myself.
Nice.
But what happened was, long story short, I don't want to keep you guys.
Nah,
right?
I mean, we here.
Let's talk.
So I'm gonna tell you some history here. So 2003, thanks AL, and OG, shout out to DJ OG. He did one of my first double vinyls.
That's true,
Lace the
coming out,
Booms, right?
Yep.
And he did
Lace the
Metal
Booms.
Things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Classic timeless.
Classics.
Oh my God.
Classics.
All the verses on that record
That's
to
such a
this
stupid
day
record. It's so
are
dumb.
crazy.
The beats, all of it.
All of it. FT's verse,
Yep.
Pharaoh Monch, OC. Anyway, when I got to LA, I was coordinating for my homeboy Raptile, and he was on Sony Germany, right? And I was getting him Exhibit and Strong Arm Steady and what's it called? DJ Khalil on the beat, right? Anyway, the paperwork didn't go through for Exhibit, and it was a whole mess, and they kicked us out the hotel on Sunset and La Brea, right? And I had my bags out there, right? And I'm going, what the fuck am I gonna do? And my mom was like, well, you could call my friend Jackie and she could help you with a rental car, right? And I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna, where am I going? And then my friend Jeff was like, yo, why don't you call Stat Quo up? That's our homeboy. He was like, he's out in LA at the Oakwoods. He's about to sign to Dre and M. Yeah. Right? So I was like, Stat, I'm on Sunset in La Brea with my bags, bro.
Come through.
He said, yo, come through, sleep on the couch. So it was El Timo, my guy, in one room, the producer. Stat Quo's another, and I was on the couch. And he said, just pay for groceries. Right. And you could rock out. A day later, I'm at the video shoot with Ice Cube. 2 days later, I'm with my guy Shy Money, and we're at the G Unit Popping Them Things video shoot with Little X. Wow. So my whole, like, it went from being in the street, like not knowing where you're going, to, again, another choice. Do you get on a plane and go home? Right. Or you figure it out?
Stick it out.
And that was the same choice when I got fired from interning. Right. So it's always kind of like these pivotal, subtle moments in life that change everything for you.
Right. Yeah, but what's great about that is you pushed. Each time you pushed through that to the next phase, and that's what got you where you were going, you know? Like,
and that was it was hard because, you know, you didn't have a mentor back then. I mean, I would watch people like Steve Lobel. I'd watch him and kind of emulate like how he's moving, right? Word. Or I'd watch somebody else, but it was very little back then. An arm around your shoulder and going, bro, don't do this. Don't spend the money on that. Yeah. Don't do it. It was so hard. People really should appreciate when they have a mentor.
Yeah. For sure, because if not, you just make mistakes and then you learn. You know what I'm saying? I tell this to my kids all the time. Like, you know, you make a mistake, you learn from it, then it's fine. It's a mistake and you learn.
It's worth it.
If you don't learn anything from it, then that's the problem.
I had to forgive myself, my younger self, for the decisions I wish that I made. Now, I was always out there applying myself constantly, right? Sure. But there was like, man, me and Just Blaze came up together. That was my guy. I got him a lot of his first placements, right? People knew about Just Blaze because I was like, Just Blaze. That's my guy. He's so amazing. And he wasn't making the sample joints at this point. He was using the Triton keyboard.
He was doing the Killer Priest View from Asada shit.
Killer Priest would be up at the apartment, right?
Yeah, that's when Killer Priest was signed to MCA and he was a big deal, right?
But I didn't think to go manage him with his other manager and go, hey, let's co-manage and I'll hit the pavement and you do all the business. All I thought was, yo, I'm gonna give him some money. He's gonna give my artist some beats, and that's my homeboy. So it was only years later where you're like, you know what? How many of those are you gonna let pass you by until you actually like do the business? You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of people are messed up. They're not. There's just an innocence to it back then. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you just loved it. You didn't think, you know what I mean?
Sometimes I tell people it's like that part in Training Day when Ethan Hawke realizes being a good cop is just, he's crushed. That's what when you really get into this game and shit really starts moving, that's how you feel. Yeah. You know,
do you think it was when he was in the tub with the shotgun?
Yeah,
because that's when the light would go off for me. I'd be like, what? Fucking Denzel did what? He's out, you know? But yeah, in the music thing, you know, even to this day, it's a constant learning lesson. Like, you never stop. And I learned that even from my mother. My mother's been in fashion for decades. Right. And I'm going, by the time you're 60, you could just chill and go on a boat.
Yeah, your mother's been in fashion for decades. She was only like the vice president of Ralph Lauren?
No, not vice president of Ralph Lauren. No, like that's an overstatement. Let me just, I'll explain that in a second. But I see her even at 80 years old still learning. Yeah. I go, this shit never stops.
It never stops. Right.
It never stops. Right. And it's like, how much are you gonna make it easier for yourself though? So my mom is starting to use like AI tools, like ChatGPT, and she's like killing it.
Yo, what up, Twitches?
We got Menza. We got Menza in the house.
Menza in the building.
You know what? Before we go any further, I do want to go take it back because I forgot to ask about your rapping career as well.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I was gonna get into that, but you know,
I want
This,
to know.
yo, shout out to Menza, the first dude to really kick my shit back to
yo,
me.
he said I was the first person ever to kick
Nah, I mean,
his
at least
rap
that
song.
record. That record, I mean, I was like, I didn't even know the record by heart. And this dude's going line for line for me. I'm like, that shit is dope.
Yeah, I got a
know.
lot to say about that record.
But you know what it was? Like, when I started, I was DJing. I wasn't rapping. And then I was producing and wasn't rapping, even though I'd write rhymes all the time. But what it was is sometimes the artists weren't vulnerable enough that I was working with.
Right.
They were just rapping.
Right.
And I wanted to hear certain things. So I'd have to do it myself.
Okay.
Plus, Sean J. Period, shout out to him. He allowed me to just record demos upon demos.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had kind of like all these cool producers going, Matt, don't worry about it. I'll record you. And so I got like demos with Buck Wild and
Easy L.
Easy L.
Unbelievable.
You know, and then I said, the first demo I ever did actually came out. I never had like if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't let half that shit come out.
Right.
But my first demo.
As a kid, I loved your shit. The record 5 cents. I love that shit.
Oh, I put the negative balance
said,
in my put the negative balance of my bank account in the beginning of the song. You have negative 68 cents and 5. Like, I was like, man, that shit. You know what used to be back then? It was cool to be broke. Right? That shit was whack.
As an indie rapper, backpack rapper.
Yo,
yes.
I got broke pockets. The fucking thing.
And then you rap about it and be like, yeah.
Yo, you know what I learned the hard way? Law of attraction, right? So there was so talking about being broke just kept you broke. And then talking about big girls all the time in songs just manifested more big girls. Okay? So I thought it was cool because Redman was doing it all the time. Yeah. So for there was 1 year where every female I dated was just over 200 pounds. It was like ridiculous. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna cut that out.
Well,
okay?
that reminds me of the bar that I spit to you back to you when I met Matt Fingaz up at Universal Music doing some work with Lil Vic and 88 Keys. And that day we were in there with Nature as well. And
shout out Nature in the back. You got the fly 98.
Shout out to Vic and 88. So 88's like, oh, this is Matt Fingaz. I'm like, I've never seen you because I only heard the music. I never seen you before. I had no idea what you actually look like. But to see you, I'm like, I was shocked. I'm like, Matt Fingaz. I'm like, when your mom's got the whip, you get head on a bike. He's like, yo, it was true. Yo, I'm like, it was true. Like, I'm like, yo, that I only know that, and that's what the example that we gave is in the sense of where somebody who is an inspiring rapper either buys or gets a feature, however they get the feature of somebody who the fan is a cult following fan of that rapper. And now they hear this other person on a record, they just see the name of the guy they're looking for. Because that's how I would look for the music that I wanted to, through mixtapes. Yeah. I'd be like, and this song had P Dap on it, which, whatever happened with P Dap? What was his, like...
That's a long story. We probably want to skip in this...
okay, cool. But
I'll just
you tell us later. You tell us later.
I'll tell you later, but he was ill.
He was ill at one time.
He had a dope voice.
Yeah, like...
Let me just say, he had a natural talent, right?
Yeah.
The rap shit is more than that, right? And a lot of it is mental and emotional. And you gotta be really, you need a lot of support in that area too.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as that song, I just want to shout out like Nate on that, because like there's only a few rappers I was able to like I really love memorizing. Yeah. Right? And Nate was one of them. Like I could literally just go around all day. To this day, I don't remember shit else a lot of rappers are saying. Yeah. But I'll still remember, and not just the band from TV verse. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You know, like I found this like one guy named Brendan in Boston. Shout out to him, who was literally the biggest Nature fan next to me, and to this day we still keep in touch. And it's like only certain people have this like thing about his verses, where if you go from a certain timeline from like, let's say 97 to like 2004, I'll tell you every verse.
Yeah.
I
know this beat in the background.
There it is.
Shout out. But you know what's crazy? So that was Shot Money on the beat, but it was Shot Self back then.
Oh shit! Right? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Shot Money
Shot
XL,
Money was
shout out
Shot
to him.
Self.
Yeah.
He was making beats.
Yep.
Wow, bro.
I came up with Shah.
Yo, can we play the joint so we can? No, bro. Yo, I love your verse. I'm gonna kick it back.
You know what's so funny? It's so vulgar.
I'm gonna spit your verse.
It makes me cringe now. My part.
No, you were a little vulgar, and I didn't mind that. I
had a lot of emotional
I thought to myself,
issues,
I said, nah, come on.
I had a lot. I'll be real with
Yeah,
you.
what? And go get a beat from your man Timberland.
You know what it was?
Yeah.
I didn't have a therapist back then, so doing the music was therapy.
Well, we
so it
talked
was like
about
all
that.
this expressive, emotional stuff would
Yeah.
come out in the records, and now I listen back to it and going, bro, I really needed a big brother. Like I really needed
It
some
is a
help.
little demented, but you had to be, a mind. I always say like music and artistry, like you have to mind fuck people. Like
You know what it
really.
is too? Is who's your mentors and who are your role models back then? Right. I'm around FT and fucking Sticky Fingers
bro.
all day. Like when you're around these people,
Yeah.
Cool G Rap,
Yeah.
you're not like gonna be doing like Tony Robbins meditations. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Like you are basically in a like, yo, they sleeping on me, son. Yo, fuck that, son. Like, fuck. Like so every 5 minutes. So this is what you're.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm still a kid.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I also had Sean J. Period in my life, who was kind of a spiritual mentor. I will go and hey, even though I'm Jewish, I will go to church and I would just want to read and absorb. And I'm going, is there another way? Because deep down inside, I don't want to be saying I don't give a fuck about anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was the only one though.
I
like,
got you.
Out of thousands of people.
Well, and you have to be braggadocious and.
Yeah, of course. it's
You
hip-hop.
was on this song. We're gonna listen to this song. Come on.
We could play it.
Oh God, no! Can we play the joint with Prodigy for?
Yeah.
I want to tell a quick, listen,
Yes, let's
that's
talk about
a
it.
quick story, right?
All right.
Two reasons I stopped rapping.
Okay.
Right. One is first is what's going to take care of my family and my kid.
Right,
That's
I
right.
understand
Second is I stopped loving it the way that I used to love it. I used to every 5 seconds I was writing a rhyme.
Well, bro, I can relate.
And so eventually I was just like, it became stressful. And then I met Kumbaya, right? And she's so incredible, right? And I was like, why am I doing this? Like I need to put energy into her,
I
right?
understand.
And then that's gonna move the needle. So I would
And
take
that's
my
the one that you played just before? That you
Yes,
played?
with Marley
Yes,
Marl.
very
Yes.
dope. Very dope, bro.
But what it was is now I could take the things that I learned,
Yeah.
like meaning like when I go in there and we talk about creating songs, I'm speaking from a place of experience. I'm not like even with Marley, I'm going in there and like, yo, he loaded up the Lou Donaldson drums and I'm like, yo, I got this LL shit in my head. I said, you have the stems to LL Cool J? He said, yes. I said, what?
Yeah,
I said, I want to go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And then I said, yo, you got the cane, set it off. Bam, bam,
Oh my
bam.
God.
And I said, you have the stems? He said, yep. I said, what? I said, this is what I want you to do. And I zoned out and forgot it was Marley.
Right.
I'm like literally just in a zone. And I'm like, bam, 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 bam. Go ahead, baby. Bam. And I'm like, now I'm doing a mashup with LL and Kane and Lou Donaldson. And then she killed it, and then I had like 7 people playing music on top of it, and
Yo, it's really dope that you get that level of respect in a studio with producers.
Yeah,
that
someone
have
like
had
Marley Marl, where they'll take your
credentials like that.
direction,
Because look, sometimes I think I know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm in here with guys that produce beats. They're not Marley Marl,
Yeah.
but I can't get even a fucking snare included in my thing, right? And I pay for everything.
a snare is
But
overrated.
this
bro.
guy comes in this, all right, and you just walk in with Marley Marl and tell him, yeah, we're gonna
you do
change
this?
this
Can
and
you
we're
do
gonna
this?
do that, and he doesn't tell you get out of the studio.
No,
It's
because obviously I'm speaking in a respectful manner to him, but I'm really used to collaborating in person,
Yeah.
like D&D studio. Like I had the best studio mentors, right?
Yeah,
like the
for
Beat
sure.
Miners and Evil D and Mr. Wall.
Yo, bro,
and-
Yeah.
those guys are like beatsmiths. Like,
Yeah.
like Evil D is just so dope to me.
You know what
Yeah.
it is that I just was a sponge
Yeah.
of just like, and they embrace that because I'm showing them that respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't really come in there with my just name dropping and put my resume out there. And I'm like, so Walt would go ahead and show me how to mix a record on, and we had 2-inch tapes. And
Sick.
I used to be, bro. You could ask Easy LP. Right, I used to.
I could ask him.
Yeah,
ask
we'll
him.
get him- I'll get him on the show.
Yeah,
He's
I'll try and get him on the phone.
Super cool.
Yeah.
He'd do a phone in for me.
Yeah.
But he basically, I would bring in this duffel bag of records, and in the records, I'd have a Batman record or the Marines record my dad had, like these different things, and I go throw that in there and throw that in there, and like it was just a thing of like you weren't emailing beats,
Right.
Like, and the things you were creating, you would never be able to do just one person by themselves. It was like it took a real collaborative effort to make it happen. So I'm kind of used to that being easy. The hard part was the business.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
back then, people looked at me because I was putting the record out. There was no one else. I had no choice. I had to be the guy.
Yeah.
And they're saying, oh, you think I woke up one day and was like, I want to be a manager? No. You know? But no one else was going to do that. They didn't even want to go out to stretch.
There's a job role that has to be filled that sometimes we don't know is it a manager? Is it an assistant? Is it an investor? Sometimes
all of it.
Nowadays it seems like it's all in one,
Right.
You know, and then it's like unless you go to some major agency that you then get an agent,
Specialized.
You know what I mean, like type of thing.
Yeah, but they're not doing it unless the income is right. Right?
Right.
So people like you or people like me or whatever it is, and it's like, I love this shit, but it's like back then you could quantify as far as like, okay, if I spend $5,000 on the production, mixing and mastering, pressing the vinyl, it's gonna cost me $2.75. We're gonna sell it for $5. $2.25 is the profit.
Yeah.
If I sell 10,000, now I have $22,500 minus the expense. You literally could figure out, like, if I do this record with Lord Finesse and blah, 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 I'm going to make this amount of money. So now I could have a record with Jay-Z and it would stream, God knows what, 0 or a million. We don't know.
See, I feel like, you know, and just to pat ourselves on the back real quick, me and Mickey Knox, like, figured out a formula roughly around 7 to 8 years ago. And we've been doing this shit for 15 years.
Yeah.
But around 8 years ago, we figured out with the fine line of what a stream will return in time. Just like real estate. When you invest in real estate, are you expecting to make the money on the appreciation in 1 or 2 years? It's something that you have to hold on to for 20, 30 years.
Right. And I know you love this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'll say? Can I just chime in on Josh right here?
Yeah.
Josh loves him some Queens hip hop, bro.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself a connoisseur in Queens.
Oh, connoisseur.
Yeah.
You
Expert.
You are the
subject matter expert.
connoisseur. What? Every time I'd be like, yo, I got this job overseas. He is so loyal. Like, he's loyal to his guys. Right?
Yeah.
He never would say, oh, yeah, I got this Brooklyn guy. Right? You know, he's like, yo, Matt, what about Trash? Yo, Matt, what about Twin? What about Nate? What about... And I'm like, yo, bro, they want a singer. Right? I was like, I think Neo. Right? He's like, nah, what about Ali Vegas?
Yo, bro, I love it.
Yeah, I fuck with this guy. You know, and you know what I felt for him, too? Because it was like, you know, Josh is embracing it, you know, in recent decade, whereas like some of us, I guess, had a different experience actually being there, you know, in power play, and being in these spots where I was like, bro, I'm done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know, just for the long and short of it is that like I did all of what everybody expected somebody to do, like in their come up of like, you gotta get a job to do this and do all, like, hustled my ass off, legal, not legal. I didn't care about music the way like a guy would be digging in crates.
Right. Yeah, shout out to Mickey for that.
I loved linguistics, and that's why I fell in love with hip hop.
Right.
It was getting into the hip hop business, which was after me already knowing business.
Yeah.
So then, like, to think about those who had to learn the hip hop business without knowing business. Right. I'm sure it was such
traumatic
a terrible.
Dude, do you know how much money I blew through? Like, and not even doing, imagine. But it wasn't even like I'm not a lavish guy, right? Yeah. I'm simple, but spending it on, oh yeah, let me give CNN $10,000 for a feature, or let me give, you know, let me go in the studio and do a gazillion songs that aren't coming out. Right. That's how many thousands of dollars did we spend on studio sessions? Yeah. And I mean, I'm not talking about recent. I'm talking way back when
it was more expensive.
You know, so what's fascinating to me when we have these conversations, when you're like, yo, you just love this shit, and it's like, yeah, I remember maybe in like 2012 putting money into a song that I just found out last year we turned a profit on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? But I love to know shit like that.
Yeah.
That it's an asset now that will always just be a profit, no matter it took 14 years to get there. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't matter to me because it's like owning real estate. But with what we've been talking about lately with these live things, shout out to Twitch. We're live on Twitch.
Shout out to Twitch.
Go to DCM Live TV on Twitch.
Yeah, they're getting free game right now.
Yeah, they're getting free game. You know, but bro, look, I got one question for you. Right, this is my only one question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it true that you placed Kanye's first overseas beat placement?
No, vocal feature.
Vocal feature.
Like his first rap.
For who?
Okay. For Mel Beats over on Sony Germany.
Wow.
Me and Nate did it, but you could ask him. We did a bunch of shit overseas. Like, it was like, so Kanye at the time only had Through the Wire, right? And he was on Jay-Z's album. He had like a little verse on Jay-Z's album. Because I remember a conversation I had with him. And I was so impressed with all the Chicago producers, how they could rap.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Doug Infinite was ill.
Doug Infinite was dope.
Ill. Yeah. No ID.
Dope.
Ill.
Dope.
No ID has a rapping.
Here's the thing.
Huh?
I don't remember much of him rapping.
He has a whole album.
Nate,
I didn't.
No ID.
No idea. No ID.
No
No
ID
ID
has a whole album.
had a whole album
I know,
on
but I
Relativity.
didn't pick that up. But I know of what
That's
he did
how I
with
found out
Common.
about Doug
I
Infinite.
know
Common got him his deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, dope.
so Common was on Relativity, and No ID had an album on Relativity.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and Doug Infinite was producing a lot of joints with No ID.
Yep.
And I basically was interning at the time that Doug and No ID were at Relativity.
Gotcha.
So I met Doug's future wife, who was the head A&R with Peter Kang. Her name was Luxie Aquino, right? And I would go to Chicago in like 2002, and he was me and No ID and Doug, and Doug would do all the chops, and No ID would produce the records. And it was me in the studio with Doug, and who's in the next room is what's the skateboarder? Kick Push.
Lupe
Fiasco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, that was my question.
Well,
fan question.
I want to get into the Prodigy Cool G rap song we're about to play.
I just want to like say that was also at a point where I felt like I'm good now. Like the Prodigy was one of my favorites,
Right.
You know, and to be able to and a good friend,
Right.
You know, just a stand-up guy.
Right. For the record, this is a real Prodigy verse.
It's no acapella blend. And shout out to Omen, a friend of mine who passed away a couple of weeks ago.
R.I.P.
Really nice guy. He did the original beat, right, which you're about to play. And then Domingo hooked up Cool G rap on the third verse. But
Dope.
it's for my film project. That's really what it's for. It's
Right.
like I've been working on a docuseries since 2011, which we could talk about after the song. But this is off of that experience, and I have video footage of this whole.
And this doesn't exist anywhere else.
Nowhere else.
Right.
No, just if you don't have it in your email,
Right.
it's not you don't find it on Apple.
You're getting treats right now.
All right, Lost in Hip Hop. We got Matt Fingaz. We're gonna play this joint. Matt Fingaz, Prodigy, G-Rap. You're rapping on this.
Yeah, that one of the last things. I'm never gonna rap.
All right. All right, we'll be right back.
Shout out to Omen. Rest in peace to Omen. Another good friend gone too soon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fire right there. Wow.
Oh! He's playing DJ Spitter, Let the Sunshine In.
One of my
I love this joint.
Yo, that was the second joint I ever rapped on in my life.
Wow.
Lace the booms.
Oh my God.
Wisdom Love.
That was one of my least favorite performances on that beat, but I love that beat so much.
That beat was crazy.
If I had a chance to go back in time, I would whisper in my ear, like, bro, don't rap on that. Right?
Come on.
Or I would say,
Don't do that to
Or I
yourself.
would say, I need you to project a little more. Like I would want to vocal produce me on that song. Because when I would do something and it would come out, it was like a demo on vinyl.
Right.
Like it wasn't like, a demo and maybe we'll filter through the best songs.
Nah.
Third record I ever did was with MOP and Flush.
Yeah.
And it was in Tommy T record.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I said I need to get MOP to do ad-libs on my verse, right? And I just want them to go,
Yeah.
straight time in it. Course I'm singing. Yo, and I was like, and they were like, I got you. And they're like, and Billy was like, fuck, I got you. And we did it at D&D, and I was like, I'm good. I'm good. You know what's crazy?
Wait, hold on. We gotta. Do you hear what this man just said? He just said my third record was MOP, and I did it at D&D. Like, come on,
Legendary.
Dude, people used to be mad at me. The rappers I was working with, they didn't want me to do that. And I said, bro, you got your record with Pete Rock and Large Pro and AG. Can I just do this? It's not hurting you. You're still getting the same money and you're still selling records. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad because I'm still here in this music shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not doing it anymore.
Right.
And I would have lived with a lot of regret not at least having that experience. It's not about the record sales or how dope you were. It's just the experience of, like, G Depp performed in Norway for like 20,000 people, and I'm just jumping off the stage with him, and I'm his hype man.
Right.
Because he didn't have a hype man.
Right.
So I'm going, you know what? I could always remember being in Norway, jumping off stages with G Depp. And we still talk about it to this day.
I mean, you'll have those memories forever.
Forever.
Now let's move on to the present and what you're doing now. You're doing a lot of documentary stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get into that, my friend.
So, tell you a little backstory. In 2011, I went up for this job at Atlantic, and I swore up and down I was going to get this job. I was like, here's my resume. I got everybody on there. And I just wanted a bi-weekly check and some healthcare at the time.
Right.
So it took 3 months to find out I didn't get it. They gave it to somebody else. And I was borderline at that point depressed. Right. And I said, well, what do, and I was alternate side parking, you know, and I was like, fucking, what am I doing? And I said, well, what do you have? What can you control? And I said, I have gas money and I have a car. So I said, you know what? I just want to get out of town. And my friend Derek, Furious Styles in DC, said, come down there and just record and have fun. And as I was there, Bink saw me. This is before Instagram. It was Twitter. Right?
Yeah.
And Bink was in Norfolk, Virginia. And he was like, Matt, I see you're in Washington. Come check me out. And I'm like, well, I don't have shit to do at home.
Right.
So I went ahead and drove there. Then Knots Ross said, oh, I see you're with Bink. Come check me out. So I ended up doing the red line in Indiana Jones, you know, on the map. And I ended up doing the Eastern Seaboard. And then a friend of mine, Focus, said to me, Matt, that's dope, but are you documenting?
Right.
And I said, I don't have a camera, I have a BlackBerry. And he went in this back room, and this little, I'll never forget it, it was a little Samsung camera. And he gave it to me and said, here, now go document. And I retraced, because I didn't go everywhere yet, I retraced a few of those steps.
Right.
And I documented, and then I did everywhere from Toronto to Miami, through Alabama, through Detroit with like Elzai and Guilty Simpson and Bizarre and D12. And then I was in like Cincinnati with High Tech, and I was doing that. And I was a madman.
Right.
Because I had nothing else going on at the time. And a friend of mine, I just shed some light, El Timo said, Matt, that's so dope. He's like, you're doing the human experience. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He said, you're bringing it back to like collaborating, being in person. You're coming thousands of miles, you know, to see us.
Yeah.
No emails, right? And I said, oh shit. It took me years to find out who I was when it was in front of me the whole time, which was I'm the Jerry Maguire of this hip hop shit, right? And I care about people.
Yeah.
And I care about the attention to detail. And it's that hug at the end of like, you only need the one client. You don't need 10,000, you know? And I called it Road to My Human Experience. And basically the point of it is not about an ego thing or about like, who wants to watch a documentary solely about me?
Right.
But it was that I could be the hero for people who want to take journeys of their own and don't know how, right? That you're not just going to see these end results. I remember Hit Boy had a record where he just talked about the end result and said, okay, and people at home are banging their head against the wall. Shout out to him, though, he's dope. But people would bang their head against the wall going, but how do I get there? Like, how do I get where you are? You know? And I said, yo, that's what I needed as a kid because I didn't have that mentor, right, to tell me. So I'm going, you know what? For the one who really wants it, they're going to absorb what I'm saying and doing, and they're going to start taking journeys of their own. Maybe not in a car like a madman, because I wouldn't even want to drive to Jersey right now.
Right, yeah.
But they would go ahead and they would get, and maybe they want to start a laundromat, you know, business, or maybe they want to do something and live with no regret. And I was like, it's bigger than the beats and the raps.
Right.
I mean,
That's a dope concept, bro.
Just that entire story right there, too, like getting to that point. So many names you just said, and people didn't even pick up on half those names. Like you were mentioning person after person after person, and these are all like genuine relationships that you made with these people because of the way you are. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? Thanks. And I mean, my thing is that I'm a very harsh self-critic. So it took me many years to actually sit back and thank myself. Because I was always like, it's never, not to have a therapy session right now, but it would always be like, it's never enough.
Right.
Like I got Nas and Jay-Z and Snoop Dogg. I mean, Snoop Dogg's bathroom recording vocals. Nobody could ever do this type of shit.
Right.
And it's like, but, oh, what else you got?
Right.
What else you doing? I have Jamie Foxx in my shit, and it's like, well, what else you got?
Right.
I'm like, I'm doing this for free. I'm doing this with no budget, bro. It's like it's defeating when you are like, you're doing these things that are extraordinary, and it's not about the names; it's the efforts that you're making. Right. And it's still not enough.
Right.
And that's the part that is like, I know a lot of people could relate to in this music thing, where they just are like, how many songs do you need from me before you actually pay attention to what I'm doing?
Right.
You know? And but for me, that's why I went to film school. So my thing is I want to professionally put this together, right? Rather than being a music guy who's winging it. So and I'll shout out to, I hate to sound like I'm name dropping, but these are literally.
No, this is the story.
These are the people that helped me. Right. So El Timo, nobody knows, but he was a major factor. Focus people know, and he was a major factor. Derek Furious Styles, who knows Derek? But without him, there is no Drive to DC, which led to everything.
Right.
So I'm grateful for the people you know, and I'm grateful for the people you don't know. But RZA changed everything for me. Like, I went to a show, shout out to Sylvia and J Mel. Sylvia's like close friends with his wife, and we went to a show in Jacksonville for the Wu-Tang Nas De La tour, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And I was not thinking anything of it. I was like, I'll say what's up to Quali, and then take a couple pictures with Green Lantern and go home, right? But we went in the green room, with RZA's green room, and out of nowhere, Mel or Sylvia said, Matt's in film school, And they're like, oh, really? And I was like, I just started talking film with RZA. I said, it's amazing when you actually start learning film, how you look at movies differently.
Yeah.
100%. I went to film school.
And shout out, right? Fist bump, right? But so
I'm just saying, I know what you're talking about.
No, it's true though. You look at things with a different lens, right?
100%.
And I went ahead and we were just talking, and he says, "Well, what have you been? What drove you? Or what are you working on?" And I told him what I worked on. I had a highlight clip of those things, like boom, 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 right? And I said, "Let me show him." And he's like, oh, and he started, and I see him because he's going, half these people in this video are my friends.
Right.
So he's going, I wanted to show him that I do the heavy lifting. I don't just sit there and have a concept. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you put in the work.
I put the work
start
in,
to finish.
Because that's how these guys respect you. Because they're tired of entitled people. Right? Oh, they could do it for me, so they owe me something. Nah, I don't look at life like that. I look at it like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. Yeah. And I did. And he said, "What's your log line?" And I told him my log line, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna take that up a notch for you." And he told me, I was like, "Whoa!" Right? Then he said, "What's your synopsis?" I told him. He said, "Wait, I'm gonna take that up a notch for you." Yeah. He said, "How many episodes you got?" I said, "I'm thinking 8, maybe 30 minutes, an hour each." He said, "Nah, he's like 4." I was like, RZA, if you say it's 4, it's 4. Like, I'm not, what do you want me to say to that?
Wow.
And then he said, I'm going to tell you how ill it was. So he went ahead and said to me, he said, you showed me something, now I want to show you something. And he showed me a trailer to the Wu-Tang Experience. And he says to me, yo, I want you to know I didn't take the name. I said, what name? He said, the Wu-Tang, what? Because mine is the Human Experience and yours is the Wu-Tang Experience?
Yeah.
I said, bro, I didn't invent the word experience.
Yeah, I don't own the word experience.
And he's like, I didn't invent the word human either, right? And he said, because I'm thinking I'm going to be more worried than him. But he wanted to reassure me that he's not biting my shit.
Right.
And I said that he's fucking dope. Right. And he went ahead and showed it to me, and it was like an immersive experience. Like, you feel like you're in the Wu-Tang watching it, right? Then he showed me another doc trailer of a project he's doing with Bob James and the importance of Bob James in
So
music.
important.
Wow.
So it blew me away, but check this out. I had to leave my apartment because I was dealing with the leasing off. I had major issues going on at the apartment in Florida. And I had to go home, and I got on the train, and I called up my friend Paul Canner, and we came up, and me and Tony Madness, we came up with the logline synopsis and format based on what RZA recommended.
You said Tony Madness, the battle rapper?
Yep.
So
he's a writer too. He's
cool.
a screenwriter, right? So actually, I saw him with Vic,
right?
Actually,
yeah.
So funny how it all comes back to DCM,
yeah.
and So anyway, I go ahead and I get home, and now I'm like, fuck, I lost the apartment. I'm doing this. I hope to connect with RZA once I do this sizzle. And I get a phone call from my friend Anna, who I met at the Cutting Room in 97.
Yeah.
And she said, Matt, how would you like to go to see the Wu-Tang Experience screening at Lincoln Center? And I said, oh, word, you spoke to RZA? He told you about our convo a few weeks ago? No. She says, I didn't know you knew him. I said, what? I said, I just had this call. He just showed me the trailer 3 weeks ago. Now you're inviting me to the screening. And if I never got kicked out of whatever I was doing in Florida and the issue I had, I would never have been in New York at that time to go to the screening. And if I left Florida early, I would have never seen RZA in Jacksonville.
Right. Look at how that shit works out. Right? Shouts.
And you know what's crazy?
This is how things happen.
I learned how to do my sizzle reel based on the screening of the film. So what he wanted me to show him, I got inspired from what he did to then show it back to him. Now check out how it gets a little deeper, right? And I'll clip it off, right? So we lose touch. 2 years go by, right? Anna hits me out of nowhere and goes, yo, Matt, remember that For the Culture thing I was working on with RZA? I said, yeah. He said, we want you to be a part of it, right? Like doing content and whatever else and hosting. So I said, say no more, right? And I was like, so then I got to direct this piece with Method Man and RZA, right? Like where they were sitting down, which I showed you.
Yeah,
but the point is in my head, I told him, I said, you know, I still got that up my sleeve, right? And I said, he said, when you're ready, I'm ready. He said, I want to see it because I'm so impressed by how much of a visionary RZA is. Like the movie he has, One Spoon of Chocolate, is impressive. Didn't even fully come out yet. It was at Tribeca. But the point was, how many times in life are you going to be able to get these master classes?
Right.
You know, we talk about Eric Sermon, you know, like, I just shut the fuck up and, pardon my language, but I just sit there and sponge and listen and be like, I don't want to anymore be the smartest guy in the room. I know it's cliche to say, but I was like, how am I going to learn from that? And I got kind of tired of it, and I wrote down on a piece of paper who I wanted to align with, and RZA was at the top of that list. Right. And now it's like, I don't talk to him every day, you know, but when we collaborate, like it's going to be more often. Right. And I'm just super grateful for that, even if you don't translate it as money right away. You know, but it's like, yeah, just the experience is incredible.
The smartest people listen. Don't talk.
Yeah. And I've done
two
both.
readers for one right.
It's a people, you know, like I kind of motivate myself a lot, you know, and I push through a lot of things that we don't share on social media, like all the stuff that really is hard, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think that I want people to know that we're like people. You know, we're human beings that have maybe kids with special needs, or we're human beings that are in debt, amounts of money that they can't even, you know, or we got to deal with our taxes, or we got to deal with, or that you were here in life and what type of regret you might have. Did you burn a bridge with somebody you wish you didn't, or, you know, or whatever. And you're going, you know what? I want to just live in a place where I'm saying, yo, you did your best. Like, you can live with that. You know what I mean? That's dope.
Yeah, I love it.
Not to sound like Tony Robbins.
Matt,
oh my God.
Thank you, man, for coming through. And, you know, I know you have. You hang out, brother. Hang out. But just giving us even just you have so much history and so much more story. Just this little piece that you were able to share with us, man. We're really appreciative. Thank you for coming through,
thank
brother.
you. I mean,
hang out 100%.
Let me be honest with you. It's therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? Like to discuss, because as you gotta understand, your head is so in the moment. Your head is so in the moment. You don't even take a step back to look at how blessed
Sometimes
you are.
Appreciate it, right?
You don't. You're just like, yo, it's like, what's next? What do I gotta? Oh, that was great. We just did that, but all right, it's not enough. That's what I battle. You know, and I'm okay with saying it. I battle the am I enough? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it goes throughout your whole life, because as a little kid, if you grow up and people are telling you that, you know, oh, you got to be in school, why don't you get an A? Yeah. Or you brought home $2,000, why don't you bring home $200,000? Right. Or like, and you're constantly like, it's in your brain that the bar is so high. Like, I used to believe if I scored 50 points in a game that I need to do that all the time. Right. Right. Because I did it once, but it's not okay scoring 20 and 30. Is that okay?
Right.
And I'm learning, and I just really passing that on to other people, is learning to celebrate your little victories.
Yeah, right. And it's also like having grace for you. Give yourself grace.
I never grew up with that word.
Right.
That wasn't a word my family used. I learned it.
It's a new
later.
word for me too. Yeah, correct.
Forgiving.
Yep.
I learned something that was really helpful spiritually was forgiving my younger self.
Yep.
I was nasty.
Yeah, so then why don't you like your young raps, bro?
No, I mean, because at least I'm joking on them now, but I used to be harsh on them.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck was that? You didn't have a breath control on that shit? Fuck were you thinking? This is what I would, because it's like an NBA head coach, like who's just like, everybody doesn't like them, but they're telling you the truth. That was me to myself.
Right.
And it was like, that's not a very kind way to live.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like, you need to forgive yourself for the mistakes or perceived mistakes.
Right, your perceived mistakes, right.
And be kinder and be like, yo, if it weren't for the 18-year-old that said, I don't want to, I'm going to...
You wouldn't be sitting where you are.
I want to be doing those things. So thank you to my 18-year-old self. You know what I mean? Shout out to him, except for this one chick he should have left alone.
No. It's all a part of the experience. All a part of the journey, yo. Well, we appreciate it, man. We really do. Yo, Knox, you got some songs?
Yeah, I'll play some stuff and
that shit with Sean Price and OD. No, you don't have that.
That didn't come through, man.
Oh, how about the song join with me and Steve Lobel rapping?
It didn't come. Nothing else came through after that. Let me check real quick.
Oh, I'm gonna send that to you, bro.
All right, but we're gonna play some shit. We got more guests in the house.
Yes.
My bad for hogging up the time.
No, it's all good,
bro.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna, when we get off the mic, I'm about to go ask you about recording vocals in Snoop Dogg's bathroom, because you said that in passing and I need to know about it, but we're gonna take that off the air. Yo.
Absolutely.
It's Lost in Hip Hop.
Word. Yo, we back. Lost in Hip Hop. Mickey Knox on the set. We got Matt Fingaz still in the house. We got our special guest, Nature. Now, you guys both have history working together. You did a song together back in the day.
Coordinated joints for
All right. And you guys were just having a great convo. I wish you guys could just continue this, man.
Well, it's kind of different, when you know people for a while, and this goes beyond just the industry. When you actually have love for people, you know what I'm saying? Always, he's one of those dudes that always have respect for. Always, when he talks, we listen. We came from the streets, nobody really went to school for anything. So it's actually, when we got around people that actually sound like they knew what they was talking about, we actually listened. Right. And so, his passion is always just there, you know what I'm saying? Right. I'll be amazed at some of the stories and some of the things that he,
he was saying before.
All the respect is mutual. I mean, because it was an honor for me. You gotta understand, bro. I'll recite his verse, all the, and I'm not I don't ever really. We're like, we're always eye to eye. We're peers, right? But I had this respect for him, and when we would do these features, I'd always be excited about what I was about to hear. Right. We did one in somebody's apartment up in Harlem one time. Right? We did one in D&D.
That was the shit. You laughing, but we come from rapping in somebody's crib, or you know what I'm saying, or before we could get in like D&D or like the hit factories or the studios, but. We was in people's cribs, man.
We were in this dude's crib with his wife and kids, and he was recording Nate in the living room, right? I forgot his name. Oh, I know his name. I'll remember it. And then we did one at D&D. You know what it was? We'd always find these random overseas jobs. Yeah. Right? Like, yo, can I get Nate on a verse? Right. Yo, Nate,
man, not even that. Not even to cut you short. On my first album, there's one song that was recorded like that. We Ain't Friends, produced by my man Lord Jamal, you know what I'm saying, from Brand Nubians. We recorded it in his kitchen. We put the microphone.
You just stole my whole topic.
We put the microphone. Oh, I didn't
You
know.
were there, bro.
I
Sit
didn't know.
down.
I didn't know.
Sit down.
Nah, yo, check it. We put the microphone right by the stove.
Yeah.
And we got busy, you know what I'm saying? And ate vegetable patties and all that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Lord J.
And you know what's cool though? What I was talking about, he mentioned Snoop, right?
Word.
He's literally that humble. He recorded this vocal out his bathroom,
Right.
in his apartment. Like I don't need to be up in Chalice,
Right.
For $1,000 an hour. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna. But we did a lot of stuff together though, and those were good times. That was like when you got paid for every single verse you did.
Yeah.
Those were
my
the
God.
days.
Those were
Cash,
the days.
cash. He shows up. Yo, hey, I got a quick little. Can I keep a little 200 from the?
Right.
Keep 2,000, but yeah. And I've had conversations with people in later years. I won't mention any names, but I was like, you can't knock the hustle. Like we made something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah,
so I don't want to hear it from people about, oh, you should be, running Universal. And you should be
Right.
Bro, we did what we knew.
Right.
So how are you going to be mad at somebody if they don't know more? Like, it's not like Leo Cohen was hanging out with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Steve Stout I don't remember him being in the studio with me. It was, creatives mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, still to this day, a lot of people make records and still don't understand how the business is run and how to make actual money from the business outside of maybe shows and things like that. They don't understand the analytics of the music business. You know what I'm saying?
At all.
Right.
Still to this day, you know what I mean? And we just getting bigger and bigger. It's more money, more technical, more things that's happening. So if you're not willing to learn, I mean, like you said, like whose fault is that? You know what I mean? But if you can't force everything, like you said, everybody's gonna always want you to go further. For me personally, that's why I don't really be on social media that much, because there's too much comparison. There's too many things that's gonna make me feel like I'm not appreciative enough of my own shit. Like I always gotta like compare to this guy or you know what I'm saying? And all that shit is like a smokescreen.
100%.
For me, you know what I'm saying? The younger generation is cool, but it's a lot of shit for me. Like, you know what I mean? Personally, it's a lot of things that I don't like. You know, I hear you talking, and it's a lot of shit that I respect that you say, and you come from a humble standpoint, and I'm a humble guy too. But sometimes it's shit that you don't like too. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to say it, and say it in a way where,
it's not my cup of tea.
People they're sensitive, so you don't want to sound like a hater.
Yeah.
You don't want to sound like this. You want to say the things that you do like and you're appreciative of, and the things that, for me, like personally, I have my pet peeve. Some of these artists, rap artists, are too polished. They come out the game.
The third album.
They come out the game with the Rolex and the Rolls Royce, and there's no struggle.
There's
and
no hunger.
And from my era, well, not necessarily my era, because that sounds like some fucking old man shit. I come from Queensbridge, and the sound that we driven into the people's head was that struggle. Was that where you can see growth in the artist? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. When you come out already and you got money to the Rolls Royce, already, like, where does that leave you to go? If this is all you wanted was to look like oh my God, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's still a lot of talent. There's still a lot of shit over there, but like when you hear about the creativity and some of that other shit, it's like, I like to see more. So I'm impressed when somebody impresses me. It's like I'm like one of those judges on one of them shows. Like, come on, you gotta come with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's more than that for me. Like we got in touch. We got involved in the game not just for the check. We got involved because we loved it. You know what I'm saying? It was my peers. It was like my standpoint was always to show these guys that I could compete with whoever you threw me in the ring with. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a fighter like that.
Yeah, I think the mentality's changed a lot because now it's like people want that popularity, the attention.
I mean, it's the numbers game. So if you don't, I got guys, the first time I've heard them and the first time I hear the song and they're like 1.5 million views. I'm like, where is this happening at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Am I late? You know what I'm saying? And some people feel like that justifies, whatever it is, like that makes me solid. That makes me solidified in the game. You know what I'm saying? And And I'm like, yo, if that's all it is, you know what I mean? We never know how long it's gonna go. We don't know if it's gonna be another 25 years of hip hop. We know that it's big enough now that it can go that way, but in the beginning, we didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you swing, we swinging for the fences. And so some of these guys come out, and I hear some of these guys, and it's just like they so worried about it just being a numbers game that some of the hunger and some of, you know what I mean? So back in the days a few years ago, Nas had the whole hip hop is dead type shit, and it stirred a lot of feathers. It ruffled a lot of feathers because people didn't really understand from that standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure we know where he meant by it and shit like that. Like, you know, that drive, that hunger is like, you know what I'm saying?
I think sometimes you got it or you don't. Like, you can't teach fire.
No, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes.
You can't teach fire.
Right? Rocky Balboa wanted it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch certain things and it's like Sylvester Stallone wanted it. You know, and it's like, I don't want to be the guy that pushes my ideology on people and you resent me because I pushed my passion on you.
Right.
And if it goes a little wrong, what happens?
You're to blame.
I'm to blame.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, you know what? You do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do in my approach. Right. I'm just an on fire person because there is no B plan. There was never a B plan. It was like.
Never a B plan.
Never
a B plan. But in that token, one question across the room. Is there an age limit to hip hop?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That we were talking about that before. Matt off the air said, you know, there's a young man's game, and I'm like,
young-hearted. I said,
and then he changed it to young-hearted, but it's no longer a young man's game when, especially we got guys like you and a lot of
Busta Rhymes, bro.
Busta Rhymes. They still dropping music and still making noise, and their lyrical abilities are still top notch.
How about most of the shows being booked?
But
let's
keep it a buck, gentlemen. There's a people, we're speaking because we're all of age. There are hip hop artists there are people out there that have never heard of some of the people that we cherish. And it's because of maybe where they are or their age.
Well, yeah, it's the age. You're right, but that's the audience for hip hop has grown so much and is so big. It doesn't matter that not everyone. This? You know what I'm saying?
Like, do the people that make drill music, do they listen to Busta Rhymes?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's take to another genre. Let's take the kids who listen to rock and roll, the new rock and roll now. These kids ain't listening to Rolling Stones. But Rolling Stones is still very out there touring and doing new music.
Yeah, rock and roll is forever when it comes down to
selling out.
If you look at other 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, they want to go see something that reminds them of a time when they loved it.
100%.
So they're going to Vegas to watch
100%.
DJ Cassidy bring out 7 legacy artists.
Yes.
Right? Slick
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
you know, MOP.
Yes.
Onyx is doing tons of shows overseas.
Yes.
And because I think it's the people our age. I don't think it's the 19-year-old that screams out and goes, I can't wait to go see.
Because we're still out there. We still want it. We still want to hear it.
We're the ones with the dollars to spend.
Right. We have and what about those old school cruises now? Now look at that. You book a whole week cruise and watch every day. Watch your favorite artist growing up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's what it was a few years ago where they were writing off everybody.
Right, it's definitely not. Right, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The resurgence of the legacy artists is there.
There's a lot of artists out there, bro. Shout out to everybody that's out there that been doing it, that continue to do it, that do it for the love, that do it from the heart. You know what I mean? I ask a lot of questions. I always wondered, you know, what it's like for an artist that probably that at one point was, you know, a household name and now is not so much, like the things that happen to some of these artists.
Yeah,
I wonder that too, yeah.
You know,
like where are they, or you mean how are they feeling?
No, yeah, you know,
like where do you go from there?
Do you get the same, you know, the same, what's the word, like receptance, like years later?
Where do you go from there?
Audience, like the guys that we cherish, like we just said. Now in 2025, we have Raekwon, we have the Clips, we have Slick Rick, we have guys that these are our guys. You know what I'm saying? Their names in our circle. Is it being accepted the same way. You know, I don't follow the numbers the same way I did. Back in the days, I used to just go to the record labels just to read the sound scan and see who the numbers
you mean on
are
a sales record sale
and
level?
see how they doing. So now so many different outlets on these platforms, I can't keep track.
You can't judge it on that by that measure anymore.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't know the numbers, but when you go see some of these shows, packed arenas for De La Soul.
100%.
Right. Well, De La Soul's different, man.
Are you talking about like maybe like a
holes in my lawn, man? I mean, it's guys out there that are. There's guys like me, man. Yeah. There's guys out there that are known by some, not known by some, but the people that do know you like might love you and ready to support you no matter what you do. You know what I'm saying? We come from an era before the internet, so it was kind of hard to gauge who was listening. So nowadays, when you meeting these guys, that's years later, and they're telling you how much your records mean to you. Like Menza just tell you he can spit your rhymes and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of. I think every day we meet a new fan, and somebody's like, "Yo," you know, and you're reminded of what you really love doing and shit.
I'm gonna say some real stuff. I think sometimes I had a friend that would be really down on himself, and because he wasn't accepted maybe locally or something like where his raps weren't like, and I'm going, yo, you don't know. I'll give actually a better example. Sean Garrett was a songwriter. He wrote Usher with Ludacris, right? And I'm in the studio with Baseline. It was me, Just Blaze.
I'm pretty sure I have some vinyl on Sean Garrett.
Sean Garrett's ill.
Yeah, he was.
But Sean Garrett, me and Just Blaze are in the room, and Sean is down on himself. And I said, yo, you don't know who you might have inspired with. Yeah, like there might have been a girl who can't use her legs, and maybe she got up and felt like wanting to dance that day.
Wow.
Or you like, and I'm telling him this, and I'm younger saying it, and I'm saying to myself, because if a person is for doing it for the wrong reasons, it's their ego-driven thing, or it's like about themselves, and or a money thing, then they lose perspective on the value of what their blessing is and what they're doing, you know? And I feel like other people, like we've touched people's lives.
Yeah, and continue to.
And it might not be in the billions, right? But there's groups of people where you're like, and there might be, like, I'm sorry, but your verse, you could say, if people said, give me a top 10 mass appeal list of top 10 classic verses in the last.
Yeah, nature would have one on there.
Sorry. Everybody wanted to choke PJ Carlissimo, okay?
Cool.
All right?
Cool.
You know?
Shout out to having dope friends, man.
You know, my father's features. You know what I'm saying?
Dope friends, man.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, and I actually bought the album. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a joint. Was it Man's World?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fire,
Shout out Trackmasters, man.
Shout out Trackmasters.
You know what I mean? We just coming in, not knowing how to do anything but rhyme, trying to get around some musical people and trying to create something. You know what I mean? Shout out to those that out there that take control of their careers and you know, it's really dope being a creative.
Yes, 100%.
Yo, I just remembered something crazy that Nate probably doesn't even know.
What?
Biggie, A Story to Tell.
Oh yeah, I posted that shit. Buck Wild, right? There's so many beats, a couple of beats that came past me that I passed
Nate
on.
had story to tell.
Shout out to MOP for Annie Up was one of those beats too. It didn't fit my rhyme.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
But thank God though, right?
Guess what I have?
Because these guys turns out.
Buck Wild knows.
Yeah.
Shout out what I have. I have the cassette.
Had one too.
I have the Biggie Story to Tell beat before they replayed it on cassette. I digitized it recently. And I remembered because I said, Buck, who's that beat for? Right? He said, well, Nate's writing to it right now. And he said Foxy Brown had it. It was Trackmasters, like a couple people in Trackmasters had it. And then obviously, you know, Big got it. But I remember that.
Yo, there was so many dope. We had sessions where we just had producers. We had producer sessions where we just had guys come up and we allowed them to play 5 beats.
Was it upstate?
And we had we had it right here in Sony.
Okay.
And so like the whole it was flooded full of producers, like guys before they made a name later on in life, you know, but it like guys that was just like go. Play 5, go. You know what I'm saying?
It was crazy.
Some people made it through, some people, you know, didn't. Shout out to the A&Rs, you know what I mean?
Jello Jones.
Man, some of those names, I just used to be like, who is this? All right, go. And
How about
I had Kanye West beats before. I had a whole CD full of Kanye West beats too. Like
let's go find
20,
that shit.
20 beats. Right? I didn't even know how to pronounce his name. I used to call him Kanye. Y'all got Kanye beats, y'all. They said like, who's the fuck is Kanye?
You know that the Sha Self was underneath Trackmasters.
No, I didn't know.
And
that.
Sha Self was working with 50.
Yeah.
And then Sha left Trackmasters, and then 50 obviously had his history there, and ended up going to Sha's basement in Long Island. But it stemmed from those sessions, those Trackmaster sessions, right? So their empire was like the B room or whatever. Like
right. Yo, no, we shared the session like that. Like shout out to 50. We had it in the Hit Factory. Before all of that shit, when that shit happened, we shared the studio.
The power of the dollar.
Yeah, like I would have it one day, he got it the next day. There's little pre-production rooms up there.
Where in upstate was that?
No, this is in the
but there was another studio.
Oh, we had Bearsville. Trackmaster Simples up to there. Like there was like houses up there. There was nothing else up there but studios. And
shout out to Red Hot Lovertone.
Shout out to the budget games. Yo, shout out to the budgets.
I want to say this live. I bust Red Hot Lovertone's ass in 5-on-5, bro. We went back and forth. He pulled up. He could shoot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we had the basketball court up there too.
Yeah, asphalt green.
Because we had Kobe. Kobe was part of.
He played in this.
Yeah, no, he was part of the label. So when Kobe was first signed, he was part of Adidas. And so he came around, and you remember he did a song with Trackmasters. He did a whole album with Trackmasters.
I never saw Kobe playing pickup ball with the Trackmasters.
Yo, they used to leave the studio sessions to go play because they had all the superstars around them. They had Will Smith. I used to be in the studio with Will Smith and these guys would be there. Kobe, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like a all-star.
Damn, I'll be like, I got Kobe.
No, but you gotta finish writing these. You gotta finish writing these rhymes. We're going to Basketball City to go play.
To Reebok.
We got
Reebok going to the Reebok.
R. Kelly and all the basketball players.
R. Kelly Cahoot.
Yeah. So they would go fucking.
But I busted. Okay, we went back and forth. At least he had 3 threes. I think I hit 4. Right? And I was like, I got him, but you know, he could shoot though. No. He could shoot. Asphalt green. Shout out to them.
50 Cent, Nori.
Punching words were always up in there. Kurt Gowdy.
Yeah, and they had some artists, you know, Femme Fatale. They had a few people there. Everybody was basically just starting and trying to just be creative, and they didn't want no distractions because, boy, we blow budgets, baby.
They're unsung heroes of music. Trackmasters.
Yeah.
Most kids do not know who the hell Poke and Tone are.
No.
Right? They are, I mean, their catalog alone
is unbelievable. Poke and Tone.
Tone and Poke.
Tone and Poke.
That's crazy. Like you say, it kind of off of like, you know what I'm saying? That's like
they don't know.
Robin and Batman.
Yeah, Robin and
saying
Batman.
it wrong.
Tone and Poke.
Why you saying it wrong?
But they are so ill, you know. and they're so ill. And even like if you go to like the Hitmen, how ill they were.
Yep.
You know, they're unsung.
Well, you gotta remember, these guys was sampling was they created. Not they didn't create sampling, but they was making it big at the time, and they had the formula of what was hot will remain hot.
Also,
they just found ways to kind of revamp. I guess that was the word at the time, right? Revamp. I didn't understand publishing. I didn't understand none of this stuff. So some of the records that they gave me at that time did not fit little old me's style. Coming from the hood, coming from Queensbridge, the hood, rough.
Right.
And these guys got flutes and you know, they just finished producing for Michael Jackson and all these kind of guys.
How were they with the hooks for you? Did they say, yo, you need to start doing, like, what did they?
I mean, what was the things that people stumbled on the most was the term radio record, right?
Okay.
And so they said, yo, we need a radio record.
Yeah.
And at the time, nobody really understood what a radio record was. We thought it was, I don't know, a clean, watered down version of yourself or whatever. And at the time, they didn't have a radio record on me. So I lived on the mixtapes. I lived on the streets. I lived in the DJ Clue era. I lived, my fame was coming up not from radio, but from mixtape.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do.
New York City mixtape. If you was around for New York City mixtape era, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
So they just never delivered. They just never had that record.
Yeah.
And so we delivered the Firm, right? And when we delivered the Firm record, if you remembered, it was only like 2 singles on there.
Oh, the Phone Tap. And what was the other one?
And Phone Tap, I'm on the record.
Affirmative Action? Was that a single?
Firm Biz.
Firm Biz.
You know what I'm saying? Suited up and all that shit.
Well, Affirmative Action was like a college radio record, like a street record then?
The record that they wanted was I'm Leaving with me and Nori.
I'm
But due
Leaving.
to internal friction with Steve Stout, that record never became a single like pushed like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just an underground record.
I love that record.
And that actually set the tone for Nori to do what he needed to do for his NORE album and the story of him repaying me back for Bear. You know, Bear from record became Bear from.
Yo, Nori's, that album was one of my favorites too.
I know.
I'll say it. Sha Self will tell you. He had a cassette of the Firm album, and it was like in this little box, like a cigarette. It looked like a cigarette box or whatever. He played. Huh?
The Firm?
The Firm album was in this like little box.
Yeah.
Right, the cassette.
Well, yeah, that was like big budget. Yeah. It was like, yo, my first time going from the hood to they just finished the East Coast West Coast shit. So this was Dre's first shit actually away from all of that shit.
Yeah.
And we didn't really want to go to LA. They didn't want to come to New York, so we went to LA for a little while, but we basically went to Miami. You know what I'm saying? That was neutral ground. So we went there, basically locked out the studio for about 9 days, 10 days. Everybody's just running around writing records. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a extra influx of records. It was just enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, to get it done.
Was Dre not playing? Dre wasn't playing some shit?
Contractual shit going on there because everybody's on different labels. You know what I'm saying? And it came out on Aftermath. You know what I'm saying?
Say Columbia,
wherever Foxy was at Def Jam. Wherever AZ was at.
AZ was on Sony.
I don't think he was on Sony. I don't think he ever was on Sony. I think
he wasn't on Loud, was he?
I think he was. He was somewhere.
Tommy Boy, no.
I don't know. Somebody let us know where AZ. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But whatever the case may be, those labels said that everybody can't be. There's only a certain amount of records that everybody can be on, and at the time that record, I was the only one that wasn't signed, so I was like the glue and all that shit. I think I'm like on 7 or 8 records of the Firm.
Cormega was on one joint. No. Cormega was on Affirmative Action, right? Didn't he set it off on Affirmative Action?
Yes, Affirmative Action. Shout out Cormega.
But he wasn't on that album.
He wasn't. Cormega's on that song.
He didn't.
No, that's a Nas. That's a Nas song.
Yeah, that's not on.
What's the song where it just starts off and he's got the first verse?
That's AZ.
No.
You're thinking about Affirmative Action. You're thinking about where Foxy is doing the math at the end and doing the breakdowns. And that's Affirmative Action. That's Nas.
That's Nas.
Oh, fuck.
That's
Nas.
The Firm album was still good.
But, you know, making records and everybody overlapping, like Nas appearing on AZ and Foxy. So it was like, you know, at the time, these records was appearing on mixtapes and stuff like that. So you didn't really know, you know, we didn't know that we was building that type of an audience like that.
They were still superheroes to me. You know what I'm saying? Like Wu-Tang Clan.
They didn't like me
Firm.
though. Keep it
Who
funky.
didn't like you?
None of those guys didn't like me.
No.
If you look at that album, the cover, you don't even really see me on there.
Really?
They did their best to kind
You
of
were
root me
recognized,
out.
though.
If you look at the pictures on the cover, I'm not even standing with them.
You got faded out.
I was faded out. You know, it's the real, you know, it's the asterisk under my name. And I'm there. Shout out to anybody that knows the story, but shout out to that. That was my beginning. And my beginning was big. I had a lot of buzz, a lot of hype, a lot of money, a lot of things. And for those that listen, that love me, thank you for listening.
That's great. I mean, that album is still one. Like there wasn't 3 of those albums.
Nah,
it was one. Good.
4 seasons.
Let me tell you.
It got a lot of flack because of the different directions that people wanted to go in. You know what I'm saying? It was still Nas' creation. You know what I'm saying? It was a Nas creation, but I think a lot of too many chefs in the kitchen kind of made it go a little bit.
I mean, I would have liked to hear more Dre.
Yeah, and everybody had to, you know, we wanted to hear Dre. We wanted to hear, you know. I think I lucked up by having the only song with Dr. Dre on the album. So
hey, you know that's not a lot of
and
people
my
can say
own
that.
record too as well. Yeah.
So Matt Fingaz. What do we want to talk about with nature?
What do we want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to know what you want to talk about. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna throw.
Because I got a lot to talk about. So.
I do want to shout out AZ though before we get on to nature, right?
Okay.
AZ is one of the reasons why I kept going. Right?
All right.
And I'll tell you specifically why. Because in 1999, I didn't want to do this shit anymore. You know what I'm saying? I was over it. And this guy, Mousy, who used to drive Sprinters or whatever it was. Mousy was my guy.
My guy, too.
He was like, yo, Matt, I want to talk some business with you. I'm going to come by the block. It was literally going to be the last meeting in hip-hop I wanted to take, right? He pulls up in a Navigator, and he's like, yo, Matt, I got somebody who wants to talk business with you. And all of a sudden, AZ comes out the truck, right? And he's like, Matt, I heard you were the guy to talk to when it comes to business overseas. And I really want to get... Now, at the time, I was like, on like AZ. Like, that's AZ.
Yeah.
Like, he was peaking. It wasn't like 20 years later. You know what I mean? It was Sugar Hill AZ.
Right.
And then I see my guy Panama PI is in the back, and he rolls the window. He's like, Matt, what up? And I'm like, yeah, rest in peace, Panama PI. And I was like, they are coming to my block to talk to me about how I'm the guy.
Yeah.
I go, you're the guy.
I got a lot of friends, man.
Right? And but you know what it was?
Yeah,
It was
friends.
it was God gave me enough of a moment to just say, just stay the course. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be so quick to quit because
I mean, you gotta
can't.
recognize the signs, man. You know what I mean? To some things, some people, you might meet people that are impressed by the littlest things. You know what I'm saying? And as you age, some of that shit that you used to hype over, you just look at it like, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But when you meet somebody that's famous, somebody of stature, and they're excited to meet you, it makes
hits
you kind of like,
Yeah.
man.
So how about the time that you were on MTV with Sway and Lupe Fiasco
Shout out Lupe.
Shout out Lupe. Twice we mentioned him tonight.
bowed to Nate?
Yeah.
We got it on camera and said the reason why his name is Lupe Fiasco is because of the song Firm Fiasco.
That's shout out to Lupe, but you know, for me,
That
I
is
don't
a
look
cool
at it's cool when I meet or if I see another musician or somebody do the same thing as I do. But when I see somebody like, you know, who let me ask you, who's probably the most famous person you met?
Ralph Lauren.
Fire. Who's
Ralph.
the most famous person you met?
Oh, Quincy Jones or Ralph Lauren? Which one do you think?
Get the fuck out of here. I didn't mean to ask him.
I mean, Ralph Lauren, his mother worked for Ralph Lauren, right?
I'll tell the backstory. In a
Can I
second
just
so
get
people
the
could
can I get the
understand.
Ralph Lauren story for me?
But I want to tell you, I was never really like when we did like rap shit. We always were like eye level. It was never like you were in this like starstruck thing, right?
Yeah.
But sports was my thing. So when I was and Nasty will tell you this, the producer engineer, right at the cutting room, there was a session. And I'm playing this record, the record with MOP, and who walks in the room is Stephon Marbury, right? Now, mind you, I'm the only Nets fan I know, and the biggest Nets fan I know. So he's bouncing his head, and he's like, yo, who's that? And he's like, and Nasty said, oh, that's Matt. And he's like, yo, you're ill. I said, bro, you just dropped 40 on the T-Wolves last night. You're ill. Me? Get the fuck out of here. Right? But that was the only time where I outwardly was like, that, wow.
Yeah.
But normally, I don't really trip everybody's human sort of thing.
I think
I don't
for me,
really-
I think I probably like I met Shaq. And
Right.
So, like, you know, giving Shaq a dap and looking at him and like,
His hand
this
is just
a
covering your
fucking
hole.
huge guy. Right here, like, you know what I'm saying? But just seeing people and
Look, I don't know how famous Gary Carter is across the world, but that
Gary
was-
Carter,
I
the
don't
kid
know.
is
it means
class
something to you.
talking
And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, no matter who it is, it
Yeah.
could be whoever it is in the world, but there's somebody out there that we kind of you
Yeah.
meet and be like, holy
No,
shit.
that was big to me.
Bro, you know what
like,
it is?
You know, for me, right? My guy, John Wallace, who was the executive
Shout out
producer.
number 44.
Yeah, you know, he was the
Syracuse.
executive producer of my second album. And one day he takes me to Latrell Sprewell's house.
Oh.
I didn't know we was going there, but it's just
that's it.
me, him, and Latrell Sprewell. And Latrell Sprewell was like really excited to meet me, and I didn't really understand that
promo.
right there. Yeah,
Well, you know, you
Yeah.
did You did say
until you
choking
realize
him
that
like
it's,
Sprewell.
you know, but in the beginning, you're kind of
which was like the biggest bar at that point. That
but
choking him like
you're
Sprewell.
unaware. Sometimes you're unaware of how the other side lives, meaning like, you know, the rich people or whatever, and you realize that some of these people do the same shit you do.
Absolutely.
And like I'm in there, we in there, you know, playing Madden and you know, talking hip hop and all this other stuff. And these guys is guys that, you know.
Yeah.
We used to aspire to be, not even from the financial rewards of it, but like, you know, in the hood we always wanted to be basketball players.
Right.
You know, we all started off.
How was it in Queensbridge when Ron Artest, aka Meta World Peace, made it to the league? Like, what was the vibe like in QB when you had one of your own and you're of your age group that was in the league?
Well, he's not my age group. He's
Right, he's
my
a little
brother's
younger,
friend.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
He used to spend the night at my house, but he's my brother's
How
friend.
was still?
But when he we knew that he was intense and he can play, right?
Yeah.
When he first got to the league and he made it to Chicago Bulls, he still didn't display what we knew he had in him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We knew that he was a special player.
Yeah.
He's one of our own.
Yeah.
So
One of the greatest defensive players of all time.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt, like a lockdown defensive player.
But coming into the team and trying to earn your stripes, and you already have you have Elton Brand, you have guys that's already looked at as the number one guy there, and so you know you're not really.
But was
sure of
QB
yourself.
at every Nick game and like
saying
whatever it was, wherever he was at?
Some people,
Like,
they always had some people that went with him.
Yeah.
The people that just moved out when he went out. That was it. They just moved to different states.
Queens had some of the best ball players though. Mark Jackson,
Absolutely.
Kenny Anderson.
You know what I loved about that? I loved about him. They rallied around him, right? And he wasn't, you know, when he was in college, he had a player that was on his team that made it to the league. That made it to the league. That was Felipe Lopez.
Yeah,
if you
number
remember
13.
Felipe,
Yeah, for
Felipe
sure,
Lopez was
bro.
on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Absolutely.
He was
Christ the
touted to
King.
be- yes, he was. You know, he was supposed to be
The next Michael.
the next thing.
Yeah.
So he was like under the radar when it came to all of that, but everybody knew that he was serious on the court. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so when he started making it, I guess we all kind of like take pride and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Queens, bro, I mean, New York City as a whole used to be so ill at pumping out like really good ball players.
Yeah, I mean Lamar
Right.
Odom from Queens.
But now you don't really hear about it so much because they're going to the prep schools, you know, down in Florida. They're going to, you know, Mount Baird. They're going to, you know, but I mean, Lance Stevenson is one of the, like,
Look, I can go down the line. We're talking sports. We got Nature here, Matt Fingaz. You know, like we're going.
A lot of those sports guys try their hand in hip hop too.
wanted to write. Have you ever written? Did you write for Kobe?
No, I wrote for Ron.
But
Yeah, and we did a show.
But
He
shout out-
He performed the shit that.
But shout out
I
to the
wrote for him.
specialist Ali Vegas. He did write for Kobe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Who else was rapping back then? Also, Dana Barros. I just saw him at the Big Three. I know they had an album.
Yeah, my guy Steve Francis rap.
Which was
I got
on-
one of his
which was
songs on my
on
phone.
Columbia,
Yeah, I speak to him
so-
all the time. That's my guy.
Steve Francis.
Yeah, he rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How he sound?
Oh, he's alright.
I will tell you who I wrote a rap
raps
for.
Joe
Franchise?
Smith raps. A few,
Joe Smith?
Yeah, a lot of these guys rap.
You know who I
man.
wrote a rap
Allen
for?
Iverson.
No.
Mason Plumlee.
Yeah, that's your man.
I wrote a rap for Mason
Yeah.
Plumlee.
Anytime I see Matt with a ball player of any sport,
probably
I go, that's your man. Yo, call your man.
He picks it
Mason.
up high. I'm going. I casually
I'm
know.
like Darren Waller. Yo, Darren Waller's your man. You
No,
said,
he's not my man. The
Darren Waller just had
had
2 TDs last weekend and a resurgence of his career game. That's Matt's man.
Yeah.
I like that he throws
like,
a little
go Darren
delusional
for me.
twist on it, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if I bumped into, he might like not know to bring me in the club too. You know what I mean?
Yo,
But
Shout out
I
to I went to the club with the whole Chicago Bulls one day when Ron went to the Bulls. I went out with them and made all of them buy me drinks and shit like that.
shout out to Kirk Heinrich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nate, give me the
It's
story
awesome.
about the chick that was like dubbing, and the next thing she seen you with.
No,
AI.
no. Stephon Marbury. It's crazy you just mentioned Stephon
Yeah.
Marbury. He had a fashion show in Chelsea, on Chelsea Piers.
Yeah.
Right? And I got in the fashion show with my man John Wallace, you know what I'm saying? Got in there, a bunch of NBA stars in there. I met everybody, Tracy McGrady, all these guys. It's kind of different when you come in there with an NBA player. So they all kind of connect with each other, right?
Yeah.
So it was this chick. It was girls everywhere. It's a fashion show, right? A fashion show. It was a chick. And I think I was like, try to say something to her, like, you know, I don't look like no NBA player, and I wasn't around. One of my guys must have went to the bathroom at this moment, and she looked me up and down and gave me that face, like, Long story short, my man comes back and he introduces me to everybody.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, I'm over there chilling with these guys for hours.
Yeah.
Stephon Marbury comes, throws his arm around me, and we walking and talking and shit like this. And the same girl that just dubbed me, just sees me with him. Now you would think like I'm an NBA player, like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I just don't get paid for it.
Fuck out of here, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy though.
No, so many of those stories that Nate has told me over the years, like, I'm like, these are the things that we have to talk about when we are going live on Twitch.
Yeah.
All these Twitches. It's like, these are the stories that need to be told.
Yo, man, shout out to there's a lot of a lot of dudes out there that, you know, hoop. A lot of young guys out there, you know what I mean? Shout out to the guys out there that got the good support system, because, man, the money that they're making right now is kind of crazy compared to, you know, it's
guaranteed contracts.
Guys is getting like hundreds of millions of dollars, and
it's kind of crazy sometimes for certain people.
You know
like,
I mean, but they do things.
Grounded, man.
They do things on the court now that you just can't regularly do. You know what I mean, it used to be where you could go imitate somebody, and then go to the park and kind of use some. Now I'm like, I cannot do that double pump step back. Dash.
When I started watching Kyrie Irving break people's ankles as like a grandpa, like dressed up as like an old man.
Kyrie Irving, you know what's so funny? What I learned, because I hooped at 24 Hour Fitness. It was me and Stat Quo on the same team, and there was a dude.
Stat Quo?
We were playing versus Terrell Owens.
I hear that name in a minute.
Now, mind you, Terrell Owens, you know, is still a professional athlete, even though he's football, right? I was like, who you got? Terrell? You got T.O. I was like, I'm not guarding him. He's fucking 6'7", whatever he is. And I was like, you guard the guy 7 foot. Matter of fact, I'll guard the girl. Right?
So T.O. was playing.
Wow, bro. Yo, I had to guard him on switches.
That is
right. And I was like, bro, I'm 5'7".
Basketball with
I'm 5'7", having to pick up T.O. I was like, but I at least knew how to angle him the right way so he wouldn't. But me and Stat talked about it last week. I said, man, but the 7-footer dunked on Stat crazy. But to throw it back on mine, I guarded the chick. I won't lie. You know how I said I bust, Red Hot Lovertone's ass and ball? Yeah. Well, she bust my ass at the 24 Hour Fitness. And then I was like, damn, she's hot. And she has a 3-point shot. This is over 10 years ago. And I was like, Stat, what's up with Ponytail? Right? And then somebody said, man, I heard Chuck hit it. I was like, Chuck is Game, right? The Game, the rapper. And I was like, damn, man. Every chick Chuck Taylor, right? Yeah. So every chick that I thought was attractive in LA that summer was, man, Chuck, I heard Chuck hit that. And I was like, and you know what's so funny? I told him, I was like, bro, is there a female out here that you have not slept with? Yeah. I was like, this shit is fucking crazy.
What do you think?
Where's the leftovers? Bro, check this out. Yeah. We went to the studio, right? And I said, I got a concept for you. I said, I got a song for you. It's called I Heard Chuck Hit It. And he went in there. It never came out, but he recorded. I swear to you.
Wow, bro.
That's Stat and Game. He said in the verse, every chick he got with. And some of them he confirmed. And I knew it.
Wow.
Okay. I said, Maya, you did. I knew Maya. I was like, Lisa
everybody
Ray?
knows that.
Lisa Ray?
I mean, if you want to hear shit like that,
no, but I'm saying a whole verse. My shit will stop it like Karen.
Listen,
here's Janet.
His was like a fly on the wall in Def Squad, and heard some pretty incredible stories.
I mean, but not like that, like nothing taken from him, but I just said like some of that shit don't need.
Yeah, there's 1,000 charges around here.
Yeah, if you get him, grab him. What are you saying?
I just said some of that shit don't need to be on no fucking record, man.
Nah, he did it and said I can't do that. He's like, I can't do it. The whole verse was like, it must have been
behind some of that shit,
60
man.
bars of just chicks. It was crazy. It was crazy.
You know what's kind of crazy? A lot of people don't know what people really want to hear. Or they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't really.
Let me ask you this.
The fuck people want to hear.
You were doing a record once. It was on the In Too Deep soundtrack.
Yeah.
With Nas.
What soundtrack?
It's called
In Too Deep.
Yeah.
Into
The
Deep.
movie.
Yeah.
Like the movie
Is that the
soundtrack.
LL movie?
LL
Yeah.
Omar Epps, right?
Yeah.
So there's a rumor, a friend of mine told me one time that whatever you were writing and rapping to, you know, Nas, then whatever he was doing was like, all right, I gotta change it. Or somebody told him to change it during that session.
Nah.
That's not.
Nas a professional, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when we wrote some of those records, it's just us sitting in the room across from each other, and I'm not one to question what he's writing. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I'm always trying to make sure that my rhyme is up to par with his. You know what I'm saying? Because
Gotcha.
Nas will go left. Nas will do, you know what I mean? He'll go in so many different, you know, it's not your typical rhyme with some of these guys. And so, like, I appreciated having guys like that around you, guys that could push their pen and create something that you can actually see, where these words are just, you know, become a picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Your expectations based on like the fact that you came, like you didn't have, like you said, you didn't really have like a demo phase. Like you went to Clue and was out of here.
You're on
like,
Clue album, right?
Both. Yeah, professional one
Yeah.
or two.
Killed it.
But the like was there a different level of pressure being the fact that there wasn't like you wasn't shopping a demo, you went right from like QB to LA with Dre type of thing?
For me, it's like I always love hip hop,
Yeah.
and so I
you
always
were killing
was a
ciphers.
fan of hip hop.
Right. You
But as
killing
far as
ciphers around
actually
the way.
trying to become a rapper,
Right.
no.
Okay.
More so, my guys are becoming the hottest things. I didn't realize that my friends are becoming the hottest things, and this machine is being set up for me where we have DJ Clue as an in-house DJ.
Yeah.
So now they have a perfect way of funneling whatever I'm creating to the masses fast.
Yeah.
I don't actually have to go to the studio and book studio sessions and make songs and have people critique it. It's just like, yo, go. DJ Clue is creating is having a studio session.
Yeah.
He might have a whole bunch of rappers coming down. Hurry up and get down there. Give him a custom rhyme, custom something that's not on the record, a custom beat, and he's gonna put it where it needs to go. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, there's a whole bunch of artists that's doing this same shit. My friends, I got Nas, I got Mobb Deep representing from the hood. I got all the elements from Queensbridge. I got the Locks. I got you know, and it's this big myth at the time that if you're not put on the mixtape in a certain slot, that you're probably not even gonna get heard. So it's a lot of artists out there that
What
was
slot
just
was that?
probably like maybe anything after. No, maybe anything after what? People
Like
are
when
really
it was
listening
like
after
a
10?
What?
When you listen to a mixtape, like, right? Let's say you was going to buy a mixtape,
Yeah.
and you saying, yo, I found my favorite artist on this, right?
on a
Oh,
second.
shit, I'm going to buy it.
I didn't know this.
How many songs are you really... Because sometimes the quality of some of the mixtapes would start to...
I was listening back and front.
But see,
'Cause
yeah, me
I
too.
came-
But here's the thing: I looked for who I want. I looked through the whole mixtape. If
Yeah.
it was an A, a B side, if it was a tape.
Well, the
mixtape,
smart DJ knows to spread the
I
name
know what
out
he's
so that
saying
you're
though.
going
Now
to
that you're
hear
thinking
it.
about it, it was the B side of a mixtape that was the lesser of.
I'll
the
be real.
featured
You know what I
songs.
was
You know
up
what I'm
on?
saying?
I was up on more was Stretch and Bob late at night. Just
Me too, bro.
Recording
Word.
like from midnight
Yeah.
till 3 in the morning.
That's
and
what I did,
But
yes.
then listening to those cassettes like nonstop.
Yes, absolutely.
See, were you listening to the mixtapes in the car while you're driving? We were
Nah, I
like
had a
listening to the
cassette tape at
mixtapes, yeah,
home.
a radio outside, a black radio, mixtapes that would be being played like
Jeep Wrangler used to drive around.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You would go to the little place that had the music. They would have the little binder. You would look through it, see who you found, and find your favorite artist.
Who's your favorites? Like, who was your go-to?
I mean, I'm listening for Clue.
Clue, right?
For Clue. But before those kind of mixtapes, it was like the blend mixtapes, like the Ron G's or the
I wasn't
SNS,
much into that.
A lot of blends.
You know what I'm saying? We had like Hot Day. We had like guys like that, like Vic, Grandmaster Vic. We had like it was tapes that were circulated. You know what I'm saying? If you would go that hard, but when it came down to Clue, for me, Clue was dope because he had exclusive music. Clue was like for me known for having exclusive music like that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like rest in peace, K Slay had shit like that too. Dudes would come to K Slay.
I mean,
they coming to give K Slay exclusive. Shout
that's the reason why the name of the song on the Clue was called.
But at that time, it was just either Clue, and but you know, and K Slay and K Slay.
Rest in peace, K Slay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I got
guys
you.
like that. You know, you would hear, that's how you got to hear Cam and the Dipset. You watched that whole movement. You watched all that shit.
I want to say how much of a blessing. Like we usually used to, like a handful of years ago, it used to be like, oh, you know, that's old and this is what's new. Yeah. But then you sit back and you go, do you know how much of a blessing it was to experience all of that? Because, and then I'm gonna say the reason why. Because it'll never get repeated again. It was like if you were either there or you weren't.
You had to be in the moment.
Yeah,
you had to be in the moment. It's like trying to show your kids some of the TV shows that you used to watch as a kid, and trying to tell them how dope this is. And you know, the graphics is nowhere the same. The story is different. Like you know, you might try to play the Cosby Show to some of these kids, and then it's like, yo, where's the
theme songs? They had theme songs back then. Cosby's, Cheers.
We love it.
Yeah. Yo, where's the theme songs at?
Yeah, well, everything just keeps recycling, though. If you notice it over the years, that's how it goes. It's like clothes, Jordans. We have cartoons that's made into movies, video games that's made into movies.
I'm waiting for the Thundercats movie myself.
Oh my God! I think I seen someone with 50 Cent, and I'm doing Street Fighter. Right? Shout out to
I'm okay.
Well, whatever the case may be, it's that's something that's from our era, and it's trying to be brought back. Some of that shit don't make it, and I hate when they try to make a sequel or a part 2 20 years later, and it doesn't really.
I didn't like the A-Team. I didn't like. There's certain things that were like. Now they want to do Miami Vice again.
Coming to America and all that. Nah,
I can live. You know what it is? Coming to America is the most perfect movie.
Get out of here.
Ever. The first one. Perfect.
Incredible.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Beat it, huh? Perfect. I loved it. But anyway, but I was saying is being at D&D, I talked to Mr. Wald about it, and like being at D&D Studios back then, and it was such a community thing because one room was like the Beat Miners room, one room was DJ Premier, and one room was like where MOP went and they recorded and other people, Freddie Fox. Wow. And in the lounge area, it's me, it's Alchemist, it's OGC, it's whoever, and then Freddie Fox is in the back playing pool, beating somebody's ass, right? Yeah. And you're sitting there going, you'll never have that again. You could try.
That's how I felt in the Hit Factory.
Same. Sony had the car, the fake car.
Let me tell you some story real fast.
Okay.
We had a studio session that we was recording. We was recording something in there, and I was like, I found out that Snoop and them was gonna be in the next room, like in about an hour or so. So I took my jacket off and I put my jacket in this empty room, telling myself that I gotta go back in this room.
You're fake that you needed.
So I made my way back into this room with Snoop, with Snoop and all these guys, and you know what I'm saying? It was like. I got to smoke bud with all these guys, and you know, I created an L dope moment with just me and a whole bunch of LBC Crips.
That's amazing.
Like, yo,
that's amazing. They were right across the street from each other too. Like,
but
Sony
you never know. You just turn around and be like, "Who's that? Yeah, who's that?
Yeah,
who's that?" You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you could at D&D. It used to be like if you needed a hook on a record, maybe Steel or Tech would walk by the room and he'd be like, "Yo, come in here," and all right, quick $200. All right, do the hook. Right. Like you're not getting that.
I was recording one day
in emails,
and Bimmy came in the room and was like, "Yo, LL's recording downstairs. You want to jump on? You got a couple bars with LL?" I stopped my session and fucking ran down there and wrote a fucking
Hell
some
yeah.
shit. Hell yeah. Like, wouldn't you?
Fucking LL Cool J. What are we talking
You know what I'm
about?
saying? They was mad because, like I said, a session is being paid for that you just abandoned to go
For
write
$150 an hour.
to go write a new rhyme for LL.
Tell me how you got the on the Life soundtrack.
The Life? Oh, I got the call, man. You know, when you connected with Steve Stout and Trackmasters and they was doing soundtracks, you know what I'm saying? I got involved with that. I think they had Shine. I think they had Shine on the record, and I don't know if it was something that they was able to keep Shine. So they had to pull Shine off. And at the time, I guess they was fishing and trying to find a dope MC that was in the mix or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got
And
Exhibit,
Them was
Ja Rule
Wyclef's call.
on that
So,
record.
yeah, shout out to
That was on the Life
Wyclef. I think
soundtrack.
that might have been the biggest check I ever got for just a verse. Yeah, shout out to Wyclef. That was nice.
Belly soundtrack.
Belly soundtrack, Life, the Ride. I guess at the time the soundtracks was the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, where they at now?
Yeah, we used to just go up to the labels.
They have them though.
We used to go up to the labels and just collect CDs and just see what the A&Rs had in their drawers and just, you know, never buy records. Just buy CDs and fuck. I mean, just go home with a book bag full of CDs and just listen to the label. Because these were quote unquote the label mates since I was on Columbia and Epic and anything that was in the building.
What happened is that this is what happened. As a fan, people are starting to learn about the internet, and this thing came about which was called Napster, and Napster started to offer just free file sharing. That when 40 Seasons was supposed to come out.
Hold on. Was it Napster first? Because I used to fuck with LimeWire.
Well, LimeWire wasn't that Napster? Like, didn't it turn into that or something like that?
I used to have a crazy catalog.
But what happened was that 40 Seasons supposed to come out in '98, and because of the internet and the leakage of so much of that, it kept being pushed back until
because
2000.
Because we had to reforecast, meaning we had to go get more money because these songs were being leaked unfinished. You know what I'm saying? And like we know, it was in the contract to say that I could only record in certain studios at the time since they were producers.
Wow.
It was their call to say that, you know, Hit Factory was your home base and you're gonna get beats from us. Even though it's like you're signing a contract, we're giving you this money, but you have to give us this amount, back. So it was like the ultimate kickback when it came down to that. But you know, at the end of the day, that was the business. It was either that or because most people coming up don't play instruments. They don't really know how to do too many things. You have to rely on another individual in hip hop. Well, you have to produce basically. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And
when you listen to 40 Seasons,
or,
we really should listen to it like just now, like acoustically. Like
what's that?
That was his first album. This is
I remember
40 Seasons, right? That had Man's World on it, and all the stuff that we're talking about. What we're doing,
that first verse on Man's World is crazy.
So
the king of the opening line,
hooks,
nature.
Though,
okay,
you had like every hook almost had a double voice to it. It was like. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, at that time it was kind of crazy because I wasn't prepared.
Like even on this beat that we listened to, I don't believe in selfishness. This time I want my crew to eat. It was like two people in one on each hook. Your voice would like fluctuate from like.
Well, I would be in studio sessions with a bunch of guys that really didn't rap, guys that was just. There, my guys, you know what I mean? Not to take nothing from nobody, but creatively nobody was helping. It wasn't too much input when it came down to that. And due to the fact that a lot of these songs and rhymes were being created on the spot, I didn't have enough time to sit back and think of whether this will be the right song or the right rhyme. So it was like going with my gut feeling every time, not really having, you know.
How many times did Trackmasters make you re-record like Ultimate High or something like that?
Was it Ultimate High?
Or any of the, like, it was like...
Maybe one or two records. Maybe like one, maybe...
Well, you had to keep going back in.
I don't know if it was them, but I had to do it. Okay, I'm sorry.
You know what's really, really on it like that, though? I've seen it, is Dr. Dre sessions. Like he's having them do one word at a time, right? And then reciting and then literally punching in every single, not just a line, a word. Right?
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I saw some shit with Dre though, but I never saw it.
I'm gonna tell you the benefit though. You really need to peep game. The benefit is by the time they're done memorizing it at that point, they're saying it exactly how they need to say it, and they've trained their mind to do 8 hooks a night and do 10 verses. And I know us as New Yorkers, it'd be like, all right, lay the first verse, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and you lay the second verse. Like it was a longer process.
I wonder how much of that is actually due to the fact that there was always success. If they wasn't as successful and they were still striving and trying to go up, would you just get that same type of cooperation from people? Because these guys are machines. These guys are machines. I've been in the studio with Dre, and Dre is like the ultimate orchestrator of telling people what they would need to do and how it needs to come out, and you know what I'm saying? It may not necessarily be him. When I used to think of producer, I thought that it was him pressing every single button, and sometimes it might not be that. Dre was the first person I seen bring live instruments and all this extra shit. It was like a circus to create these records, you know what I'm saying?
Which is crazy when you think about it. I saw like phone tap on the bass guitar type of thing.
Dude, he just pushing the envelope of music production. Like they used to say that people down south and West Coast made the beats for the cars, where New York made it for the headphones, because we're always having headphones.
We had Money B here last week or 2 weeks ago, and he said the exact same thing, that the LA music was made for the cars. Because they was always
Atlanta.
You know what I mean? Like but
we were on the train.
For the headphones, and that's pretty crazy when you think about it. I never realized that. You know, just as a fan of both. We were riding the MTA.
That's just how like society is. Like these big cities, as opposed to, even though it's a big city too, but it's a car towns now. Like.
So here's a nerd question, and I already know the answer to it, but is what it is. So it's like, you mentioned before you were in Lord Jamal's kitchen and you recorded a lot of 4-0 seasons, and there are
not necessarily a lot. We were
a couple of records, but ones that didn't necessarily make it to 4-0 seasons.
Yeah, that's buried on a DAT.
I want
They're
those
buried on
songs
DATs
so badly,
in his
bro.
crib.
You know Jamal, you're good with Jamal, right? Like, you're like,
I was cool with Alamo and Sadat. Like I didn't know Jamal. Like
I met those guys. I was cool with Sadat too, like through separate people. I didn't know Pooba, you know what I'm saying?
Pooba was the illest,
but I didn't know him. I had to get around him through these guys.
Yo, Mickey played a Grand Pooba. Did you guys
shout out to Jamal?
And that was a new Grand Pooba record. That was bro, they played a new Grand Pooba record last week.
Yeah, you know what's crazy now? I thought about at the time, like when we was recording records.
I'm like, who is that? And when you play Grand Pooba on the thing,
wait, Shai, he's so excited. He's trying to finish telling the story.
I'm trying to tell a story, man. Not even a story, but I was saying since we were talking about these,
Josh knows this shit.
This is influential. These are influential people to us, like, you know what I'm saying? I know people that got brand Nubian tats and all that, but what I was saying was me and Lord Jamal became cool, and at the time he was they were doing Oz, and so I used to go with him down to when they was to shoot Oz, you know what I'm saying? And Oz was becoming a big thing for HBO at the time, like, you know what I'm saying? He had a little role, you know what I'm saying? These guys were basically that's when you see hip hop guys trying to do their role in acting, like, you know what I'm saying? You got the Fred Rose and all these guys. There's a lot of guys out there that are real versatile, and the guys like him was like one of those guys that I got a chance to see step outside of the hip hop shit and try to do other shit like that, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I admire the arts. I admire shit like that.
Can we track down the Dats?
I'm sure we can, wherever you got them. I spoke to him about it one time. I guess he got it buried in the basement somewhere.
He's like, can I track it down? Can I make vinyl out of it?
I'm gonna jump
off. Stream it.
There's some records.
Oh, you want to say?
There's some records that I did, man, that I would just, you know, every artist's worst nightmare is to lose records that computers crashes or some shit that wasn't saved correct. There was a whole bunch of records.
You mentioned True Criminal before. He had a dope record on a True Criminal soundtrack, or was like a compilation.
Oh, you're talking about the anti-backpack?
Yeah, I think Domingo did it.
Shout out to Mingo.
Thanks, Domingo.
Domingo's one of my favorite people. We just talked yesterday, actually. You know what's great is when you actually have like real friends from it, not just
See, I'm
associates.
jealous, man. I'm jealous.
You don't have any real friends?
No, I mean,
No,
you wanna be
because
friends with
there's
them?
guys out there that just couldn't really.
pretty much my best friends.
Wait, I
my
wanna
close
know.
friends are all music people.
It's guys out there that I wasn't able to spend enough time to see that part of them. To when we came together, it was like strictly business. It was like we're paying for the studio, we gotta work. Small talk maybe, blunt talk, but not really enough to classify these guys as friends. You know what I'm saying? They're acquaintances. And it's kind of crazy because some of the guys that we didn't feel were, they were interns or carrying records back then, probably went on to become executives. And people that we probably laughed at or probably was like, yo, there comes this guy. He's nobody. He's a and now these guys have their own, their own businesses or their own shit like that. So it was like, yo, you got to learn how the business of people, the people business, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't understand friendships and favors, and I didn't understand certain shit. It was just always...
Jungle was your first manager, right? Basically. And then guys like Briggs Morales.
If you want to call it that. I mean, but because at the time I wasn't conducting business. So when you say manager, in some people's eyes, they're thinking booking shows and doing so many things like that. For us, it was just basically getting him to the studio, getting him to these cool sessions, keeping him around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Keeping him around. We're cool, but we're from the hood, and we don't know where this thing is going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know where this thing is going. And if anybody knows the history of Nas and his brother, they always had an on and off relationship. Like, it's always brother, always love. But, it was times where they didn't really hang around each other or speak to each other.
Gotcha.
So we was cool. It wasn't like the intention of doing anything.
Yeah.
This opportunity opened up for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so with him being there, he's kind of like being the mouthpiece for me and for Nori at the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So credit Jungle for basically trying to keep it together and be a manager. But as far as he didn't do the things.
So who would you? So is Riggs
he
was your first manager, like your first official manager? Or
I never had Riggs. Was never my thing. It was always Jung.
I thought he was.
It was always Jung. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And Jung was, like I said, Jung would make sure that we could get to these meetings.
Gotcha.
When we come down to negotiating the deal, he's always like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I get paid, we get paid. I don't know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what we're doing, but for every step of the way, for a certain point, like, he's there. So
yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, but I just want to cap it off by saying that, of course, like DCM wouldn't be.
Hold on, real fast before we wrap it up. Yeah. These shirts that I have on it, right here, right? They say what again?
98 Nate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
98 Nate. The reason behind 98, a lot of people don't know what this is, but this is the moniker that you might hear me go under as opposed to Nature. You know what I'm saying? Nature is always going to be my name, but as far as for search purposes, I've gotten a lot of flack over the years for people having problems trying to find my music. If you don't know the exact name of a song, but a name like Nature,
name is just Nature?
just because my name,
Right,
with the name being Nature,
trees would come up, and
waterfalls and all kind of shit like that. So, there's a lot of people that missed out on some really great music just because they couldn't find it. And so I'm trying to find a way to let them know that if you ever see 98 Nate, whether it be in this form or different kind of logos, that is basically associated with me and my team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Yes. We came up with that together.
You know what I'm saying? So check it out.
We put out a
98
project called 98 Nate.
You're gonna do? Oh, it's gonna be. Is it gonna sound like 98?
We put it out. So
that's
what
when
it was
I started. That's when the hunger started. It's like a revamp.
And
like
I'll just
was talking
recap for the whole thing for you is the fact that there's so many mixtape records that DJs ruined the songs during that era.
Yeah.
Cut Master C.
Yelling over these records.
And these were the most favorite Nature fans' songs.
Yeah.
So when we, after years of being together and doing business together, we came up with this idea called 98 Nate, which was then Little Vic would replay all of the beats from those songs, and he would respit those bars of those mixtape songs, and we put
without
it out.
the DJs yelling on them.
And people have commented like, "Yo, that was genius." I mean, we're a great team together.
Well, I want to, when you do a 98 Nate video, I want to do it. Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, you heard that first, y'all.
I love All Out, bro. It's one of my favorites. Yo, we got to wrap this up, but yo, Nate, DCM wouldn't be where we are today. We owe a lot to you. You are our brother.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And this is only the first interview that we're doing right now. You know, there's
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
things
so
that's going on. I want to
therapeutic.
play some music and let them
I'm like,
know
bro, I
exactly
didn't
what
even-
we doing. You know
I
what I
didn't
mean?
need to spend money to talk. I was like, this is great. I don't have a therapist tonight. This is amazing.
Yeah,
I'm the
I mean, it
therapist.
can help in that way.
therapist. We're
Nikki's
better
my
than school
therapist,
right
bro.
here. Sometimes these talks are needed. You know what I'm saying?
No,
The bro
absolutely.
talks and shit like that is needed. And it's not necessarily like, you know, we are hip hop artists and hip hop influencers and stuff like that. But the conversation goes way beyond hip hop. You know what I'm saying? This is brotherhood. This
Yeah,
is,
it absolutely
this is real
does.
shit right here.
But when I was in the worst spots of my life and young, this and that, like I like listening to his music would put me back in a better mood for the day.
I said it, Queen.
And that's how the love for all this became what it really was, with the passion behind it.
Who needs antidepressants when you have nature?
Yo, I don't know if we got people, but yo, follow us, yo. Follow us
we
on
follow
our
on-
social medias, yo.
on-
I want to, you know what I want to clarify?
Yeah.
Because I said I had to give some backstory on my mom, right?
Yes.
So that you didn't, so
Yeah.
you can know.
Yeah.
So anyway, my mom was a fashion designer. She started out in the 70s with Halston. My mom came from nothing. She was just a really extremely talented human being. And she started with Halston, and Halston led to Ralph Lauren. But her first day on the job, right? She's nobody. She's sitting in a boardroom and they're like, does anybody have any ideas? And Ralph says this, and nobody raises their hand. And my mom goes, I do, right? and he goes, what is it? She says, a polo bear, right? And he says, what do you mean? Like a polar bear? Like a polo bear? Get it? And she's like a mascot. And everybody starts, he's like, what does that have to do with fashion? Right? And everybody in the room starts laughing. My mom she's almost in tears, right? 3 days
bless
later,
her,
Ralph
bro.
goes back to my mom and goes, Audrey, we're doing the bear, right? And then they went to Stife, who had the physical teddy bears, and they licensed the likeness, and another woman actually ended up drawing it, even though my mom's main talent is the drawing.
Wow, bro.
Obviously, we don't get equity in that because you just got paid a menial salary and your job is to throw ideas.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like we have, we get 10% of the bear.
Yeah.
Nah, you know what we did get though?
But she did elevate to higher positions.
Oh, no.
in the company.
I'll throw that before
Yeah.
we leave because I want to just throw the
dope.
truth out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt's mom.
Yo, check this out. So my high school hustle was polo. So I got, I'm going to tell you how.
You selling
I got
clothes?
What up with Thurston Howe?
80%. I got 50 off and 30 off that. Right?
Crazy.
So I used to pocket. Shout out to they're not listening. Whatever. So I would keep the 30 and I would give you the 50 off. And I did that all through high school.
Yeah, you
right?
gotta
Now mind
come
you,
up, bro.
this was the Snow Beach. Right around then, 86 is when my mom started. Right. Then she went into my sister was working there too. She was because they're all with the pen.
Yeah.
Like the things you would never think she could do. She go, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Right. She's from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. Right. So she walk right by you and you go, no way. And because you see these glamorous drawings or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, she became eventually the VP of Design Collection, right? So like the runway stuff.
Yeah.
But what it is that my mom was the same thing as a lot of us, not creative, not business.
Yeah.
Right? So when she went there and she retired, and maybe I'll bring her by one day. But she basically was burnt out. Like these people were in therapy sessions.
See, you told me these stories before, and then when I introduced Matt to people, and I say, and his mother's the vice president of Ralph Lauren.
I'm still, yeah, because he said in high school.
Yeah.
Man, we were playing video games. This guy's fucking
we had
making a
Six
killing.
but they have a
Fucking making a
misperception.
killing.
You know what it is? Because when you say it a certain way, they're like going, "Oh, Matt didn't need to do music. He could have just done fashion.
Yeah.
Like he's got it like that."
Look,
and they would counter.
And you are of Jewish background.
But here's the thing: what people misunderstand about that. Aha, the spoon. Aha. But you know what they didn't understand is that Jewish people way back when they first came over to the country, they were given the menial job of counting the money for people. It was seen as the dirt job. Here, count the money for us. And through basically doing that, they learned finance, right? So anyway, long story short is it's a misperception. It's like saying every Italian's in the mafia, right?
Yeah.
So
but what I'm getting at just by noting that is that like being in and around, you know, a culture that is in like we are outsiders in this culture in that sense. I mean, is that then you automatically get looked at as the guy that can make the money happen. I mean, now the difference between Italian and Jewish is that then when you know that you're Jewish, it makes it though he's really got the money or he can make the money happen.
But I'm gonna tell you the truth. Is what it is you have different sects, right? Yeah. So you got like the Orthodox Jews, you have the Hasidic Jews, you have the curls, and then you got the Reformed. Reformed is light, meaning like they don't really follow like Yom Kippur is tonight. Right, going on or whatever, and we're supposed to fast. Yeah. But the point being is not everybody's the same. Yeah. Right. And the money thing is too. It's how your parents were taught. So let me just explain this real quick. So my parents came from poverty. Right. So they taught poverty. Yeah. So my mom, as ill as she was, didn't love herself, didn't believe in herself. My dad was a pharmacist. My dad, same thing. It's like you have to fit. Like the point I'm getting to is that you don't just like you're not just born into something. You could be born into something that has all of these crutches. Yeah. You know. So anyway, long story short is the talent was what was natural, right? So my mom's talent, she's like Forrest Gump. She tripped and fell on some of the most epic moments in the history of fashion, right? like she in the 70s, Halston was the biggest fashion designer in American history in the 70s into the 80s. Ralph Lauren is the Americana, right? And then after that, what I do? She's retired. Hi, Matthew. Can you get me some work with some rappers or something? Yeah. And I'm like, well, you know, Kanye. You want to meet with Kanye? And we ended up, me and Che Pope. Shout out to Che Pope. And we went around with Kanye during the Watch the Throne tour. And we went around the whole world with him. And she's like, she said to him, she said, are you humble? And I was like, oh, fuck. She's going to fuck the money up, right? But she's no filter. She doesn't care who he is. She doesn't even know who he is. Yep. Isn't he that guy who made that girl cry on stage? Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, don't fuck. So anyway, so he goes, no. He said, I'm not humble. He said, I'm gracious. He said, I'm grateful for everything I have, but I'm only here 100 years and I'm not dimming my light for anybody. And bro, that was the same way. That right there, a light bulb went off inside of me. And I said, how many years did I dim my light, making other friends more comfortable? Or like,
well, that's the reason why we're here, bro. Like, you know, I came up through with mortgages, real estate, bookmaking, all that type of shit. That shit didn't have no passion behind it. I loved hip hop. And I just decided to do that. And I'm more successful than I've ever been.
You know what it is, too? My mom lives with a lot of regret because how she left Ralph Lauren. She was retired already. And they went ahead and said, she's burnt out. And she's like, I need a vacation. She was like, and Ralph was like, well, I need you on this collection. And she said, I gave you 20 something year. You can't give me 2 weeks. And my mom forgot. That's not Uncle Ralph, your friend. That's Ralph Lauren.
She don't give us two shits.
She didn't give because she was burnt at that point. And what happened was he said, if you leave right now, I cannot support you in your retirement. Right? Ooh. And I mean, Ralph's a great guy. Ralph used to rap too. He would come up to me in the fashion shows and go, I love my clothes. I love my clothes. I love people who wear my clothes. You know what I mean? It's just like, but he would never.
How old is he right now?
80s.
Okay.
Easy. Yeah. But Ralph was great to my family. Yeah. We had an amazing time. But my mom, it taught me a lot of lessons watching her. Yeah. Right? One is, remember who the master is. Yeah. In the room. Yeah. Don't get so comfortable because you're with someone 22 years. You forget that's motherfucking Dr. Dre. Yeah. You know? And I think that's what she went through, and she had a hard time. And, you know, I'm not a fashion guy. So I'm sweatshirt, sweatpants, and we're out the door. Yeah. So I was like, I'll hook you up with some music people.
Don't care about that other shit. Some people just don't care about whatever level of success you reach. Like, you know what I'm saying? People that work their whole life, is fucking blue collar or whatever, they don't give two shits of fucking... They figure you do the same thing as me.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, to end it, my mom did not understand how hard it was to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that part. That's what I was thinking.
Ralph is an entrepreneur, a marketing genius.
Yeah.
And when she got on her own, it was so hard for her because she's like, she went to work, got a check, did her work, came home, step and repeat, right? There was no respect for, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do this. It's the same way rappers or producers would look at each other like, no, you can't.
Right.
You know, that what he's doing is there's only one person on the planet doing it.
I would have a lot to say about all that, but then we'd be here for too long.
No, I'm not going to keep anybody. I just want to shed some truth.
Yeah,
we got to do part 2, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, just to wrap it up, we are going to be getting with Nate to do this, the Battle Within.
Yeah, when possible.
When possible. And the beat that's been playing this whole time, Nature Shine, is one of the verses when you go, I rap for the Giants, the Jets, the Yankees, the Mets. It's a perfect time right now in what's going on with baseball, football, all that, to even just knock that out as the nostalgic part of what we're talking about.
Or how about do a visual to something that never had a visual?
Yeah,
well, Nature Shine never had a visual, but Man's World didn't either. And you just said you loved that.
How did that first line go? Was something about winter, spring, and how'd that first line go?
I don't know. You asked me about a record that was 20-something years ago.
I don't. That first.
And it's late.
I want to shout out to Nate though. He was the king of the opening line.
Fast food, yeah.
But just I think people have a false narrative or presumptions out there that because what they think that you do or who you are is what you're from, and it's like, you know, no, don't assume and don't count people's money. Right? A lot of people have their own unique story, and right now, even my mom, they go, "Oh, she's chilling." Yeah, you don't know how she handled her finances. She don't know how she handled being by herself and not working for somebody.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, you know, everybody, or my dad, you know, being like a pharmacist and physically thinking he needs to work for every dollar. What happens when you have a stroke and you can't use your hands anymore? Now you can't make money.
That's the same thing based on rappers that's
a whole other topic.
That need to tour and still do shows in order to eat. It's like,
do what you got to do.
Like you're gonna be 60, 70.
I mean, how do you
to be a show like sometimes with G-Rap, I'll be like, yo, your health is so important, bro, that you can't be in the little corners of the world in Russia. Some shit.
He's not trying to hear you.
How do you tell
G-Rap is like, I'm gonna fucking do what I do.
How you tell a little kid
Quebec at 70 years old?
How you tell a little kid to go to school and he can become this and he's gonna make this amount of money, but he's watching his favorite rappers look like 20 times what his father makes, or something like that, or some of the jobs that used to be, you know, the highest highest type of job back in the days. They don't want that no more.
Yeah.
You know?
No, another.
We gotta wrap it up. You know what I'm saying?
We're
Way too smart for this right here.
It was a great time.
Too smart for this, guys.
Guys, let's take a picture and go home.
We'll be back again.
Yeah,
thank you everybody for tuning in and sticking with
Peace.
us.
Yes, sir. Blame it on Matt.
Sorry, guys.
No, Matt, you do great interviews.
Man, you're great, man.
Oh, thank you. Good night, everybody. Tell them who you with.